I'm just a streaming dirtbag, baby. Come to my live stream, don't say maybe. It never ends till you go crazy. Oh, 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 oh. I'm just a streaming dirtbag, baby. Come to my live stream, don't say maybe. It never ends till you go crazy. Oh, 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 oh. Thank you, Uncle Remus. Thank you, Wesley. And thank you, everybody who came. Now that's a franchise I'd watch.
It's the anti-tracker.
We will return to your scheduled programming shortly, or we are currently experiencing technical difficulty.
What is going on, YouTube? Michael J. Crawford, the anti-tracker here. And hey, I actually remembered to unmute. Very cool. By the way, here's the black badge that Thomas sent me. It's actually, I gotta say, the magnet in this thing is incredibly good. So I'll give him a lot of credit there. It's very sturdy design and everything. So I really do. I gotta say thank you again, Thomas. As much as I hate Discovery, the black badge is the coolest thing to come out of it. So thank you, my friend. And Justin T gets us off at just the right start with a $10 super chat. Says, Happy New Year's, my friend. Thank you, Justin. I truly appreciate it. And you know what? I was going to announce it anyway. So even though you gave $10, there is a new Uber chat available as of today. And so I'm going to play that for you in just a second. But I have to premise it a little bit. A lot of people wondered, why the heck at the end of the live stream do you hear this ungodly noise for the last several minutes of the live stream? Well, this Uber chat explains exactly that.
To answer when one does not understand the question.
Can you let us hear the probe's transmission?
Yes, sir. On speakers.
The president did say it was directed at Earth's ocean.
Uhura, can you modify the probe's signals, accounting for density, temperature, and salinity factors?
I can try, sir.
Son of a bitch!
I think I have it, sir.
You son of a bitch, anti-tracker!
And this is what it would sound like underwater.
Yes, sir.
You son of a bitch, anti-tracker!
Bird of prey.
Fire!
Oh, man, there was lightning right here.
So there it is. The official explanation of that particular sound. But thank you, Justin. I truly appreciate it. Darth Maul was first in the chat. A lot of hellos. Good to see all of you here. And Thomas Potts says, hi, Helmsman. Yes, I was just over in Cinnabon's stream having some fun playing Bridge Commander. It was actually a lot of fun. We did the Kobayashi Maru test, and at first we were really sucking, but then and I wasn't the helmsman though, I was the tactical officer, Thomas. And it was Wesley Crusher was the helmsman, which is why the ship wouldn't fly straight. And we were really doing bad until I got the ingenious idea of what if we attacked the Kobayashi Maru? And that plan actually worked. Thomas also says, what the F was that ad? I have no idea what ad you saw. For Richie, he's got 2.5 hours until 2020. For me, I got about an hour and change. 1.5 for Farmer's Daughter. So Farmer's Daughter, you must be in the same time zone as me, and I will make sure to keep DJ Odyssey away from you. Mike Richards is here from Columbus, Ohio. I have no idea what time zone that is, but I'm assuming 2.5 hours for you. Richie asks if Darth Maul is in Hawaii. That's what I would guess. 4.5 hours. Because it would be like... No, could be... No, Alaska, wouldn't it be? Hello from 2020 here in Eastern Canada. Hey, 47 Yorktown. Darren says the stream better be good. Well, you already got some incredible revelation as to that sound. And Valor says, you stream and they will come. Also, I am awesome always, but Anti-Trigger is luckier, which is better than awesome because he has Mrs. Anti-Trigger. I will grant you that. I will say, when you were saying luckier, I was like, man, this has been a rough year. But I do have Mrs. Anti-Tracker, and so that more than makes up for it. By the way, she will be joining us in probably about an hour or so to ring in the new year when it hits our time zone. And KG313 says, hey, I actually made a live stream. Happy New Year, fellow nerds. How you doing, my friend? Thomas says, you are welcome. Red Pill Gary says, hey, Anti-Trigger and everyone in the chat, how you doing, Red Pill? Do you have the 3D version of Bridge Crew? No, well, if I had a VR set for my computer, it would work that way. It is designed for that, but I don't have a VR headset for my computer. And I wouldn't even know the first thing about getting one. Springtime is here, says, how's it going? I'm hanging in there, my friend. Live with Matthew, who was our engineer extraordinaire on the bridge. By the way, you did a great job, Live with Matthew. Unlike Wesley Crusher, you did a great job. Hey, Anti-Trigger, we're on the Enterprise D now in the game. Oh, man. And I missed it. Although I don't have the DLC for TNG anyway. Red Pill Gary says, Happy New Year's. Still 3.5 hours to go here. Darth Maul is rolling on the floor. Welcome to Moxley Fan 20. Welcome to the family. Welcome Moxley Fan Moxley Fan 20 says hi, hit trigger in chat. I'm sorry, I didn't even see that. I apologize, Moxley. By the way, just so you know, especially when during the live streams, if you want to make sure I get your comment, put at Anti-Trekker in it. So, and with the dash, if you don't put the dash, it doesn't highlight. So it highlights on my screen. Rambling Canuck, my brother in pain, says, Happy New Year's, Anti-Trekker and all. How you doing, my friend? Justin says, that scares the crap out of my cat. Darth Maul says, sounds like Bigfoot got a kick in the nuts. Kind of does, doesn't it? Night Breeze is in the house. Justin says, you're very welcome, Anti-Trekker. Well, thanks again, Justin. I truly appreciate it. Life with Matthew is on helm now. He actually knows how to fly the ship. Well, that's good because, boy, our previous helmsman sure didn't. Life with Matthew was doing a great job at engineering, by the way, I gotta say. Darth Maul's on the West Coast. Springtime says 7:30 here in Anchorage. Yeah, you got a ways to go still. Tim says, greetings in the Bird of Prey style. Darth Maul says it's 8:30 here. Darren says, you know, back in the 80s, Marvel Comics created an Iron Man from an alternate future who was evil. He was called Arno Stark, the Iron Man of 2020. I wonder what he's up to now. Ah, that's funny. It's weird, all this stuff that takes place in the future that is now the present or the past even. I have an hour and 27 minutes until midnight. You and me both, Valor. Hey, it's 1534 It's 1534 NYD. So New Year's Day, I assume you mean. It's 1534. Not sure what you mean, Renegade. Jeff says, doesn't matter. Nothing matters. Not true, Jeff. You matter. All of you guys matter to me. So don't ever say nothing matters. I won't accept that around here, my friend. Tom says, you're welcome for the badge. Ah, yes, thank you again. This thing, I gotta say, if only everything about Discovery was as cool as this badge. Although the dumb thing about the black badge was that they don't, in the first time we see the black badges, you see people wearing them. Then you see people like carrying around like, hey, here's my secret ID, which makes no sense. Sci-Fi Nation says it's 23:36 for you. Well, that must mean you are on the Eastern time zone. Why would Section 31, a secret organization, have their own comm badge? Because they are stupid. 1534 hours. I thought you were in the Army. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Renegade. Yes. But you see, you didn't say hours. You just said 1534, and it just kind of threw me off. Well, antimatter doesn't matter. Well, antimatter isn't matter. But not doesn't matter. You matter unless you accelerate to the speed of light, then you energy. There you go. That is awesome, Nightbreeze. That's what our mantra should be to all of the nerds this year. You matter unless you accelerate to the square of the speed of light, then you energy. It's not hard to throw you off. Learn Epi. Jerk. You're a jerk, Tim. That was mean. That was really cut deep, man. It really cut deep because it was a rapier. Get it? Aren't nerd jokes the best? It's like this one joke that I remember hearing that we don't serve your kind here. A positron walked into a bar. Or no, was it a? I screwed that up, didn't I? Oh well. It was a tachyon. Jeez, why did I say positron? Jeez. See, I completely screwed up the joke. It was funny when I heard it, man. If you reach the speed of light in a box, it's cubed. Wow, that's true, kind of. So let's see. Antimatter can matter, but it needs the lithium crystals to energy. Well, we're just coming up with every pun possible. Darth Maul lies, apparently. Darth Maul is still on Amazon. It's still on Amazon. I just checked. What are you even talking about? So, of course, it would be helpful. Heard on Heard of Me tonight, CBS began removing Star Trek movies and programs from Netflix. Oh, okay. I hadn't heard that. In fact, yeah, I've never heard that, but I figured that as far as they would just let when contracts expire. But here's the thing. CBS isn't calling the shots anymore. It's Viacom. So who knows? Maybe that was CBS's plan, but Viacom has other plans. It's cubed like going to plaid. Ah, there you go. I had a friend who figured out how many muskrats you needed to move the Earth 1 meter away from the moon. That is a ridiculous amount of math to figure out something that is completely and utterly implausible. But hey, can't say as I'm all that surprised, really. A bra, a jumper cable, and a battery walk into a bar. The bartender says, I'm not serving you. One of you is off your tits, and the other two look like they're going to start something. I like that one. I figured the Section 31 we saw in Deep Space Nine was a rogue faction of the secret but official Section 31. No, I think that they just broke Section 31. Earth moving equaled muskrats times the speed of light squared. Wow, that just hurts my brain. What's your drink of choice to ring in the new year? Well, right now I am drinking Evan Williams Eggnog, which is a delicious blend of eggnog and rum and whiskey and bourbon and brandy. There's a lot of stuff in this. So that's what I'm drinking tonight. Ebony is in the house. My lovely daughter says, hi, Dad. Hey, you still got a ways before New Year's because you are, of course, over on the West Coast with some of these wonderful people. So, but good to see you, Pumpkin. Tim Christ says, hey, they can move planets and Transformers. It's not improbable. Well, it is improbable. Just because they did it in a fictional universe, you realize it's fictional. Hello there, Andy Trucker says, Sci-Fi Sith, how you doing? Ebony says, hope you're getting drunk. I know I am soon. No, I don't get drunk during my live streams, Ebony, because, yeah, that would be bad. I might start telling your dirty little secrets. Muskrat Love, Captain and Tennille song. I remember that song. That sounds good. Yeah, it is actually. This stuff is pretty good. I had quite a bit during the earlier live stream, and actually it helped me get a little bit of a nap. I've been having so much trouble sleeping that it actually did help a little bit. A friend of mine got me an Alex Kurtzman urinal target sticker for Christmas. Awesome! Enter, is your wife going to let you get hammered drunk for New Year's? It's not a matter whether she would let me. I mean, I could, but I'm not going to because, you know, I'm celebrating. I'm hanging here. I'll put the hat back on, as stupid as it looks. There, but yeah. But no, I just don't want to get hammered because for one thing, I don't want to wake up tomorrow with a hangover. For another, I need to keep enough of my wits about me to be able to continue with the live stream. I mean, could you imagine if I was like, hey guys, and passing out or something? That would be horrible. And I know you guys would probably think it was hilarious, but if I did like, and this could theoretically could happen, like if somebody passed out during a live stream and so their stream just continued on with no audio and nothing going on, you know, YouTube could see that as a violation of terms of service and yank their channel. And so I don't want to take a chance of that. You don't know none of my secrets. Hope your eggnog is good. Actually, this is really good eggnog. If you haven't tried it, Ebony, it's Evan Williams. It's actually very, very good. Let's see. And Vile Mike says, Ebony is here on the West Coast. Good to know. Oh, don't worry, Vile Mike. I think there would be a better chance of Ebony corrupting you. Darth Maul says, Darren, Anti-Trigger Darren, all this paywall stuff, I'm going to limit the permeability of not just Trek, but all sorts of IPs. Yeah. Until the streaming wars begun, the streaming wars has. The streaming wars are definitely in full force. And what that's going to end up meaning is that people are going to have to just basically make up their mind. And Thomas sent me something on a Minecraft thing where somebody was making a Happy New Year's thing on Minecraft. I don't know if this was Thomas's original work, but it's on his channel. Pretty cool. All right. Jeff says, I'm in a Kobayashi Maru in real life. Oh, Jeff. Oh, I feel you, man. I know. Is it still related to the same stuff you were talking about the other night? And if so, you know my prescription. John DeMarco says, hello there. Tim Christ says, apparently I have a drinking problem. The alcohol won't go into my mouth, and I have a big-ass mouth. Well, then you definitely have a drinking problem. And I would demonstrate the airplane style of drinking problem, except that I don't want to make a mess. Richie says, hello, daughter of Anti-Trekker. Darren says, in the chief's quarters of the USS Tuprang, there was a Hanoi Jane urinal target from the Vietnam era, still there when she was decommissioned in 1999. Good. Light with Matthew says, didn't Bird of Prey 5 fall asleep during some streams? Yes, but he would eventually wake up. And so, Ebony's laughing, saying true, probably about me, suggesting that she would corrupt Vile Mike. And let's see. Renegade says, if you could get drunk during a live stream, you might end up shirtless like a certain Canadian. Yeah, I don't think that would happen. Sorry, I don't plan on, even though, I mean, what would be the point of that? I mean, granted, with Foley, it's like, holy crap, there's never been such a smooth person, and so it's just like fascinating to see. But for me, yeah, nothing special to look at. Thomas says, I sent you a link to my fireworks in Minecraft. Do you want to watch up? Oh, okay, so that was yours. Very cool. Vile Mike says, corrupting the Vile one, I doubt it. But maybe the Vile child. Oh, you don't know my daughter, Vile. Valor says, what's the best contraceptive? Nude pictures of lore and old people. Well, I think just lore. That's all you need. Daniel's Hot Topic says, oh my god, Antrigger, Happy New Year's, my friend. Did you hear that Mecha Random threatened Mad Max that she will sue him? No, and I don't know who is Mad Max another YouTuber? And why would Mecha threaten to sue him? I don't know. And, I mean, seriously, don't know. Thomas says, Bird of Prey would self-destruct in the Kobayashi Maru test. No, he would just crash into something, I think. Sci-Fi Sith says, are you 2 or 3 hours ahead of the West Coast? 2. For me, right now, it is coming up on 11 o'clock. I'm in the Central Time Zone. George says, Happy New Year's, Antracker, and many more streams in 2020. Thank you, my friend. Good to see you. And Vile Mike says, you can try. I definitely think you get along with the Vile child. Yeah, but trust me, you don't want, you get in trouble. You don't want to leave her alone with the Vile child. Not until the Vile child is a vile young adult. Just saying. Are there going to be fireworks in your city? I don't believe so, although a couple of yahoos, it was really kind of pissed me off, because when I was trying to take a nap earlier in between the 2 live streams, some idiot set off some fireworks, which really, not only did it wake me up, which was annoying, but it also spooked the dog, and so poor Auntie is having a rough time right now. Ebony says, was that your kid? We should do a double live stream. No, I don't think Vile Child is allowed on live streams, but you can check out, if you go to Vile Mike's channel, you'll hear her. Track 95 says, ask Mecha. Well, I'll talk to her. I might talk to her tomorrow if we do a Midnight's Edge stream tomorrow, but I'm just didn't know. A child ran up to her father and said, Daddy, did you know photons have mass? And the father looked at her and said, I didn't know they were Catholic. Ba-dum-bum. Let's see. Daniel says, Antracker, it is 11:48 here. Yes, you guys only have 12 minutes, Daniel. And so we're gonna be counting in the new year for the East Coast of the United States in just a few minutes. In fact, let me bring up that website that we had before. What time is it in? All right. And there we go. And we'll switch to that screen so that we don't miss it. So it is 11:49 and 28 seconds. And helps if too many screens. There. In fact, let me do this real quick. We'll do that, and that makes it a little easier. Tom says, a-holes will be setting off fireworks till tomorrow afternoon. That's very true. Elwin Ransom says, Antrigger, I made a vow not to get drunk for the rest of 2019. So far, so good. Well, yeah. Good luck. I don't know what time it is in your time zone. Hopefully, it's almost 2020. And let's see. Vile says she's only 15, but closer in age to you than I am to your father. Yeah, shut up. Wow. Darth says, I was going to get CBS for Picard, and come to think about it, this may bite CBS in the butt. They can compare the past and present to Picard. The paywall thing, I don't know. CBS All Access is not the worst streaming service, but is it worth it? I don't know. I watch a lot of Star Trek, so I use it for that. But, right now, of course, Star Trek is available on a bunch of different streaming platforms, but it won't be forever. Well, then, Happy New Year from the West Coast of the state of California. All right, so if I said, well, it's, or to Daniel. I don't know why I was thinking that was me. Ebony says, oh, yeah, not very PG, so let's wait till she's 18. Yeah, for sure. So have you ever watched either of the movies I've so graciously bequeathed to you in these last 3 months? Have you watched either of the movie? Oh, yes. Yes. Jeez. Mr. Miles says, first, sci-fi... good to see you, Miles. Sci-Fi Nation says, first New Year's I spent in Saginaw, Michigan in 2007. I was playing Call of Duty, and the gunfire sounded like 3D. All of a sudden, it turns out it was the people in the city firing shots. Yeah. And Vile says, she's not very PG, but not quite NC-17. Yeah, Vile Child is a strong PG-13 or a light R. But Ebony is like a hard R. Cinnamon says, thanks for joining. No problem, Cinnamon. It was actually a lot of fun. We need to do that again. A neuron walked into a bar and asked the bartender, how much for a drink? The bartender replied, for you, no charge. Ba-dum-bum. Wesley says, I'm back. Just don't drive. Renegade says, two chemists walk into a bar. The first says, I'll have an H2O. The second one says, I'll have an H2O2, please. The first one drinks. The second dies. Ba-dum-bum. Mage Grey Wolf says, don't know how this will turn out, but I mixed orange juice, apple cider, and vodka for my New Year's drink. Well, that sounds interesting. Is it midnight in the East Coast? It will be in 7 minutes and 20 seconds. First time watching your live stream. Happy New Year's, Anti-Trigger. Thank you, Bill, and welcome, my friend. And it looks like you were in the U.S. Army. So, awesome, my friend. I salute you as one soldier to another. Darren says, I actually bought a Deep Space Nine episode on YouTube here today for the first time. Soldier of the Empire. We'll see if I can still watch it tomorrow. Yeah. But you actually bought one? On YouTube? Why? And Ebony, my lovely daughter, says, gotta go get drunk, guys. Might check in later. Happy New Year's. Well, if you get drunk, you don't need to check in later. Oh, jeez. Daniel says, I don't mean any disrespect, but I hear Mecca complain about Star Trek becoming more action-oriented, and she's like, oh, look, another space battle. I want something more talky, which is odd. Well, I don't like that Star Trek has been becoming more action-oriented for some time. I mean, they've been doing that in the next-gen movies. Heck, they even did it in the original series movies, but it just wasn't as extreme. Wesley says, I want to see you do Helm on TOS. No, I'm not a helmsman. So did you think Hail Caesar was good, bad, or meh? I'm going to reserve comment, Darren, because I'm going to do reviews of all these. All right, so I don't want to spoil anything. I'm not going to say anything. You're not going to trick me. No. Son of a... Waller says, a friend of mine was going to attend a clairvoyance meeting, but was canceled due to unforeseen events. Oh, man, that's a good one. And let's see. Renegade says, man walks into a bar. Man, he sucked at limbo. Jeez. Bill says, I'm a vet, no longer have to embrace the suck, LOL, except for using the GI Bill. Well, that's cool. I was in a long time ago, so, and people will make jokes about muskets and crap like that, but I'll put it to you this way. When I first joined, we had Jeeps. That's how old I am. Darren says, okay, I'm sorry I brought up the movies. I got you. Now I have guilt. That's all right, Darren. But I mean, Darren, that I've had a lot on my plate, and I know you've been very forgiving and understanding because I have been anything but the best as far as being your guys' host on this channel and getting the content out the way I want to. I mean, you guys have been so gracious, and I hope and pray that 2020 is a better year than 2019 was. Sci-Vice says, what did the bartender say to the Proton? You're always positive charged, aren't you? Two guys walk into a bar. You'd think the second guy would have ducked. I don't make fun of the Army. I feel it's what the Air Force and Coast Guard are for. Actually, no, the Air Force and Coast Guard are just there to be the butt of other people's jokes. I'm sorry. Or are you saying that's why you don't make fun of the Army because you feel like you should make fun of the Air Force and Coast Guard? Never mind. Excuse me. Yeah. Renegade says, did you hear about the midget psychic who wanted for fraud? She was a small, medium at large. Australian Cheeky Breaky says, I hope you're having a great day. I am. And, speaking of Australian, now I have a new Geloja chat. I don't need a Geloja right now, but just in honor of you, I'll play the first few seconds of it here for you.
Oi, it's my Aussie accent. It's the dingoes. We have to worry about the dingoes.
Yes, that's a thing. Jeeps, so dinosaur time. So how is fighting the fight line? Smirks. Yeah. A bartender says, we don't serve time travelers here. A time traveler walks into a bar. George Peters Gaston says, last 5 minutes. Yes, we're actually down to less than 3 minutes of 2019. I got to pay attention. And let's see. Ketwalski made a video making fun of Mecca and Midnight's Edge, and then Mecca came on and said, okay, now I'm triggered, so she can give criticism, but she can't take it. Well, I don't know. I don't know what Ketwalski did. I don't know anything about that, so I'm not going to comment on it. Anyway, so we are now 2 minutes and 15 seconds away from 2020 on the east coast of the United States, which means for Bird of Prey, he's only got 2 minutes left to try and make 2019 a good year. So it's just too late at this time. Bird, if you're still awake, just give it up. So yeah, 2 minute warning. 2 minute warning before the apocalypse hits the east coast of the United States. A skeleton walks into a bar and says, bartender, give me a whiskey and a mop. And Wesley says, oh no, don't you darn, stop it, no. Yes, that's my official Geloja music from now on. If I ever need to get up and step away for a minute, you'll get to hear Bird of Prey talking in funny accents. Did you know the Marines is actually an acronym? It stands for My Ass Rides in Navy Equipment. I have never heard accents so mangled since Dick Van Dyke was in Mary Poppins. Yeah, that was some seriously... I mean, at one point he sounded like he was kind of German. And I was like, what? Midget asked to open a tab. He was a little short. Ba-dum-bum. The past, the present, and the future walk into a bar. It was tense. Wah, wah. I think I will stay in 2019 for a few hours more, says Wesley. Well, you go right ahead. I cannot wait for 2019 to be over, but I got to wait another hour, which sucks for me, but that's okay. All right, so we are coming down to the wire here. Let me get now, and I apologize. I know my official countdown actually doesn't say 2020. It says 2019. That was my mistake, but what can I say? That's just the way it goes. And so, with the delay, see if I can calculate this about right. Here we go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. So, congratulations. It is now 2020 on the East Coast of the United States of America. So awesome. And let's see. Bill says, seriously, thanks for your service. Thank you, Bill, and same to you, my friend. Daniel says it's 11:59 here. Not anymore, my friend. Richie says, what's worse, birds singing or birds' accents? I don't know. They're both so painfully bad. Valor says, a proton checks into a hotel. The bellhop asks, where are your bags? The proton I don't have any. I travel light. Wow. Thomas says, I'm in the future. Dear God, the world is ending. The SJW are right. The big wave is hitting me. Roxall says, Happy New Year's East Coast. Now get off my damn lawn. Yes. Mr. Miles says, what do you call two crows on a branch? Attempted murder. Wow, that's pretty bad. Speaking of pretty bad, Elwin says a dyslexic man walks into a bra. That's That's horrible. Now, being dyslexic, that's really horrible. John DeMarco says, yay, no more for 2019 for me. I'm so looking forward to that moment. Farmer's Daughter says, Happy New Year's, East Coast. A new year brings in new opportunities. Love seeing you on your last year for New Year's Eve, and love seeing you on last year for New Year's Eve, and even grateful you're on again. Happy New Year's, brother. Thank you, Red Phil. And I'll tell you, it's, you know, if I had no idea a year ago that the 2019 was going to be such a horrifyingly bad year. But I can honestly say I would not be here if not for you guys. So thank you. In all sincerity, you guys have brought me through this hellaciously bad year. And I will be so very thankful when this year is over in just under an hour. So, yeah. And Mage says, Happy New Year from the East Coast. Yes, you are now in the future. Technically, I know people are saying it's the next decade. It really isn't, but it is. I know it's 2020, but you know, the decade doesn't start until 2021, but everybody just says 2020 because it starts with a 2 and blah, blah, blah. Sci-Fi says, right on the dot. Good job. Thanks. It's hard to, you know, it's kind of a guessing game because of the delay. And of course, some people are a little bit off from others, so it'll never be 100% accurate, but I do my best. 2 hours to go in Albuquerque, where someone should have made that left turn. Tell me, is the Army Marine branches best friends or boyfriend and girlfriend since they're both our ground forces and do the up-close and personal combat to their opponents? Well, Sci-Fi says it works kind of like this. The strategery of the U.S. military is that the Marines are the first to invade. The Army are the ones that establish the territory and basically hold it. Most people in the Army will acknowledge that the Marines are the toughest hombres on the planet. There is no finer fighting force in the world than the United States Marine Corps. That being said, they're about as smart as a sack of rocks. Wesley says, I'm going to keep drinkering until nose can type. Oh, man. Let's see. And Just Joe says, Franklin details. Yeah, Jeff, and I didn't see if you remember, Jeff, I can't see your comments unless you put my name in it. So I didn't see what you're talking about there, my friend. Is Laura streaming tonight? Let's go TP his house. I don't know if he is or not. I don't know what his plans are. Daniel says, Happy New Year's, Antracker. How long are you up for after this stream? Well, after this stream, when the stream is actually done, I'm going to collapse. But I'm going to continue to stream as long as I am able. I'm going to try. My goal, I can't promise you I'm going to make it, but my goal is to continue to stream until it is New Year's Day on the West Coast. But I don't know if I'm going to make it that far. Mainly because I haven't been able to get any rest lately. Laughable Larry says, why do you hate the new Spock from Discovery? Funny question. I don't. I genuinely don't, except for in that Q&A short trek, which was horrible, and the final episode of Season 2 of Discovery. I actually liked Ethan Peck's Spock overall. I didn't like what they did to him in that final episode of Season 2 and the short trek Q&A. But no, overall, I liked him. In fact, I liked his interactions with Michael, and he humanized Michael. And so there was a lot of positive that I've said about the Spock character. And then they ruined it in the final episode by having him basically apologize for, oh, you're the best thing ever because you're Michael Burnham. And it's like, why did they do that? Bill says, May Anti-Trigger hit 100K by December 2020. That would be awesome, my friend. Daniel says, now on to Section 31, show the best thing to come out in the Trek universe ever. We'll see. Bradley says, is your leg doing any better? Haven't seen anyone talk about it in a while. Well, yes and no. It's kind of funny because on the one hand, the pain is lower, which is a good thing, but I still can't move my leg properly, so I still can't walk around normally. I can't really drive a car alone because I could get somewhere and then not be able to drive back. So, I have some severe limitations on it. but the pain is better, but I'm also hurting more in other parts of my body because I'm having to, like, for example, getting out of a chair, I have to use 100% my left leg to lift myself up. So you can imagine that puts a lot of strain on my left leg. And so my left leg hurts like all the time. So yeah, it's kind of a weird one. Mr. Brown says, so you're going to stream until it's midnight on the West Coast? I'm going to try. No promises. Richie says, you helped make 2019 better year for me. Well, I'm glad, Richie. If I could help you a little bit, that's awesome because you guys helped me a ton. That's because people suck at math. Well, people do suck at math. Ramlin Canuck says, a ship decloaks, fires in the Enterprise D. Picard says, fire at will. Work shoots the first officer. Lame, but LOL. I do think that would be a funny joke if somebody did that. Jeff says, time is relative. Time is different for all observers. That is technically true, but the difference, while all on the same planet, is so minuscule that it doesn't really matter. Darren says, about to enter the coldest month of the year around here. Gets down to between 30 and 50 below at night. I can overclock my computer if I out it outside. I assume you mean take it outside. Yeah, that's crazy cold, my friend. I thought Rangers were among the first to go in, and their Army. No, well, the Rangers do. You know, the thing is, the Army is huge. The Marine Corps is small. The Marine Corps has a very specific mission for certain types of things like that. But the Army is like the overall, this is the main fighting force of the United States. The Marines are like, oh, we need to kick some ass, send the Marines. Right? Then the Army goes in and says, okay, we'll take it from here, dummies. But, yes, the Army has special forces. They have the Rangers. They have a lot of things that they use on the front line. It's not like the Army is always kicking back and just letting the Marines do the fighting. But the Marines' sole purpose is to be on the front line. The Army does a lot of stuff besides that. And Alexander says, Asian Muslim wife born in the USSR is the best choice. I know she is for you, my friend. I know she is for you. And of course, you know, we know that Bird of Prey 5 rang in the new year for her. Ramley Canuck says, I meant Worf! Damn, autocorrect. Oh, Wark, I got it. Thank you. And Bill Stevens' good line says, Marines are tough as mountains, smart as them too. Yes. Jeff says, my first comment was just for Joe. That's no problem, no problem. Now it's 2020 in the East Coast. YouTube is removing channels that they think are violating COPA. I don't know. I think the COPA scare is a bit overrated. I don't think that YouTube is going to suddenly remove half the channels on YouTube. But let me tell you, I think that channels like whoever came up with the Baby Shark video and crap like that, don't get me wrong, you know, it's a stupid little song. I'm not offended by the Baby Shark song, but I am offended that these people made millions and millions of dollars illegally. And YouTube knows it, and YouTube was compliant in it. And so I do have a problem with that, because here's the thing. It is a violation of YouTube terms of service originally to even try to get people under 13. You realize you have to be 13 just to have a YouTube login. So technically, nobody watching videos on YouTube should be under the age of 13. They should be over on YouTube Kids on a parent's account. And so, I'm sorry, I think that this whole deal with YouTube trying to pass the buck on to the users is a lot of BS, because it's 100% YouTube's fault. Because YouTube, you know, their terms of service say you have to be over 13 just to have an account, and then they're trying to blame accounts for marketing to 13-year-olds and younger. Yes, those accounts are technically illegal, but YouTube was compliant in it, and, you know, but I'm sorry, you know, the Baby Shark people, they knew damn well what they were doing was illegal. But you know what? They made millions of dollars doing it. No, thank you. 2019 has been a bad year for my family. Not as bad as some of the stuff you suffered, but it's been trying. I've enjoyed your channel and hanging out with you guys. Thank you, Renegade. And I've enjoyed having you around as well. So I think a lot of us will be are very glad to see 2019 dead and buried. The Marine Corps are amphibious shock and awe branch. That's a good way to describe it. They are amphibious. And where the Army does have certain units that are amphibious, but the Army in and of itself is not. Armies for sustained long-term conflict, yes. And that's the thing. The Marine Corps is never intended to take and hold territory. They're just sent in to kick ass and take names. The Army doesn't, and that's why, like, the Army has a lot more logistics than, like, for example, we can actually, in a matter of weeks, move in, take over, and have entire infrastructure set up to basically administer a territory. Valor says, if 4 out of 5 people are suffering from radiation poisoning, does that mean the 5th loves it? Yes, in fact. I don't know if I'm going to make it to midnight here. Well, I don't know, Wesley. I'm going to do the best I can. I still have 48 minutes before midnight where I'm sitting, and I'm hoping that I make it that far. I think Captain Foley said that you hated him. I never said I hated Captain Foley. Captain Foley and I are friends. Sci-Fi Nation says, not ringing new yits for Hawaii and Alaska, son of a bitch. Well, you know, I had to draw the line somewhere. What branch of the U.S. military does the Army have a friendly, heated rival with each other? Well, really, the Army has a friendly, heated rivalry with everybody. You know, the Air Force actually came from the Army Air Corps. And the Army still does have, we don't fly airplanes. Well, we do have transport planes, and they have helicopters and stuff like that, and A-10 Warthogs. And so, yeah, so they rival the Air Force there. The Marine Corps, of course, badass fighters. But the difference is that the Army is the general fighting force of the United States. The Air Force, the Navy, the Marines are specialized forces. And so they have their niche. And the thing is that each one of them can do something better than the Army, but the Army can do the whole where they cannot. Valor says, I have a few pizza jokes, but they're too cheesy. Darren says, when my brother had to pick a service, he didn't have a high school diploma. Army would have took him as is, while the Corps required him to do a semester of college credit. Interesting. Now, I don't know when that was, because when I signed up, the Army would not take someone without a high school diploma. Discovery did a lot to harm Spock, true, but for me, it was the short treks that truly killed him. Yeah, the short treks are what, the Q&A short trek specifically is what really, that did more damage to Spock than anything else. Richie says, I guess Amtrak doesn't consider Hawaii and Alaska real states because they're not attached. No, they're just, you know, too far over in the time zones for me to stay awake that long. And DJ says, Happy New Year, I'm back. Well, DJ, stay away from Farmer's daughter, all right? Just saying, stay away from her. Nice says, Scarf didn't like to drop a video during your stream. Oh, did he finally get that done? I saw what he was working on. It was actually kind of funny. I don't know how it turned out, but he basically made a thing with Baby New Year that was kind of funny looking. Tim says, I feel you with the pain. I've been having recurring back pain in my right side under the shoulder blade, kind of disabling. I can't bend, can't twist, sucks ass. Not as bad as your leg though. Well, Tim, you know what? The thing is that this whole started with my back, because I have some severe problems with my lumbar area, and the doctor decided to send me in for the knee because the reason my back is constantly being agitated is because I haven't been able to walk straight for over a decade. And the reason I can't walk straight is because I have arthritis in my knee, and so they did the knee replacement to take care of the arthritis so I could walk straight, so that hopefully I could resolve the back without surgery. But then we had the problem with the surgery with the nerve damage, and so it's actually, unfortunately, I walk worse than I did before, which makes the back hurt more than it did before this whole process started. So, yeah. Thomas says, breaking aloud. You son of a bitch, fireworks, you a-hole woke me up, has been heard in Bayside, New York. I would not be surprised in the least if that were 100% true. Let me see what that was, to make sure it wasn't anything important. Don't care, don't care, don't care, don't care, don't care. All right. Mr. God says, Happy New Year's, 8 minutes to the new year, and to keep you updated from 8 minutes into the new year, and to keep you updated from the future, no flying cars. Wow, man, 8 whole minutes and no flying cars yet. Man. Alexander says the Spetsnaz kick asses. Yeah, I'd put them up against Special Forces any day. Actually, they are a tough bunch, but yeah. But I would take I would take that bet. Klutz says, I find it weird that the Marines have a vast arsenal ranging from warships to jets to boots on the ground, but they do fight like hell. Well, keep in mind, you think of Marine warships, they're Navy warships. The Marines just hitch a ride, for the most part. Fun fact, the Clint Eastwood Marine movie, Heartbreak Ridge, was about the invasion of Grenada, but that was an Army operation in real life, not a Marine operation. That is very true. In fact, I just missed Grenada. Meaning when I signed up, Grenada was just completed. It was a violation. I'm offended by that. Well, you shouldn't be. You chose the name Vile. Valor says, I will stop with the bad jokes. My girlfriend gave me the look, so yeah, no more bad jokes. Well, until Star Trek Discovery starts. Yeah, well, then that is a bad joke. Roxall says, I just turned on Dick Clark's Rockin' New Year's Eve. Who the hell are these bands? Damn, I feel almost as old as Andy Trekker. And Daniel says, YouTube Kids. Yes, YouTube Kids is an actual thing. It's a separate website designed for kids content. That's where all this stuff is supposed, all the COPA compliant crap, like videos like Baby Shark and any of that should be on YouTube Kids. Why are they not on YouTube Kids? Because you can't monetize the same way as you do on regular YouTube. So people put it on regular YouTube and nudge, nudge, wink, wink. They know the kids are just watching YouTube on their parents' account. However, what happens is, since the parents' account is an account for someone over the age of 13, they can put cookies on their computer and track their stuff and put targeted ads and stuff on there. And guess what? That's illegal. You can't send targeted advertising to people under the age of 13. And so that's where this whole COPA thing came into play, is that basically targeted ads were hitting little kids, and that's not appropriate. But the reason it was happening was because nobody was using YouTube Kids. And, you know, it's kind of funny because I actually, in some ways, sympathize with YouTube here. It's not like they didn't set up YouTube Kids, but nobody wants to use it because you can't make money. So yeah, Blovine Durherder says, my dad was a Marine. Well, your dad is tough as a sack of rocks and almost as smart. Alexander says, I woke up 2 hours ago and now I'm working all the night. Well, you should have fun then. I meant me. I'm already kind of tired. I understand, Wes. I get it. Alexander says, you missed your subscribers in Japan today. I know. I wanted to, you know, if I was, honestly, if I was in full health and I was doing YouTube full time, I would probably try to do a 24-hour live stream for New Year's. I think that would be a lot of fun to do that like every year. When you get 13,000, well, whenever I do. But I don't know. Let me see. If we go and open this up, right now, I am sitting at, if the computer wants to stop fighting me, I'm sitting at 12,989. I am currently 11 subscribers away from 13,000. So probably not this year, but very early next year. Tim Christ says, my friend Adam was in the Navy. He told me that the Marines were in naval security. No. Naval security is actually SP, Shore Patrol. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, Darren. Marines are out of the Navy. I will be doing a video soon about the Makos, the idea that they are the Marines in reverse. Cool. I'm looking forward to that. 22 days till Picard. Yeah, we'll see what happens. We don't need air support. Builds Warthog. Never mind. We need this. Well, the Warthog is a freaking badass plane. If you've never seen one in action, holy crap, are they maneuverable. Happy New Year's from Michigan. Hey, Alice, good to see you. Although it's not New Year's for me yet. And Alexander says, you should help Bird to get a Rose Tico series. That's better. Thomas puts the link to Joshua's video. Let's see here. Thank you. I haven't watched it yet. And by the way, I do like the notice that Joshua does put a lovely warning, because Joshua is very concerned about COPA since he does animation. So notice the following video is not in big red letters intended for children. In fact, why don't you stop giving young children phones and tablets and actually engage them in activities such as reading books, writing stories, even playing musical instruments? Just don't let your kids watch this video. If you can't resist, get off the internet. Holy crap, that is the best disclaimer ever. That is freaking awesome. So Joshua, man, that is beautiful, my son. Let's take a look at this and see how good this video is.
This is where Father Time lives? That guy's probably a cheap bastard. Why, TikTok to you too? Alright, Father. I need you to tell me where the baby New Year is so I can kill it. There are many opportunities, but it is our choices in this life that determine— Proverbs, idioms, yada yada yada, where's the baby? I'm not letting you kill an infant, you sicko. But the New Year utterly confuses me. It should still be 2016! Besides, I like being drunk on New Year's Eve, and New Year's Day is always when we get hungover. Okay, fine, the baby New Year's coming. Yes! Although I am warning you, new decades are huge. Sweet mother of alcohol!
You have summoned me, Father?
You see the bug with the green eyes? Squish him!
May I eat him?
No, you must save room for the storm that is 2020.
Wow. Oh man, I gotta say, I love it. I love it. So if you haven't already, you should check out my son's channel. It's The Scarved Insect. And he does lots and lots of weird animations and stuff. And he also does, when you see the occasional super chat animation on this channel, Joshua made most of those animations. And so that was freaking awesome. All right, so hopefully by this time next year, your leg problems will be a thing of the past. I do hope so. But if not, I will learn to live with it. I like DS9, Subs of the Empire. I think the Rotaran was the first Klingon bird of prey to actually kick ass on a regular basis. Okay. I think that Klingon birds of prey suck. Just because you like them. Mage Grey Wolf says, I had back pain from not walking straight due to a second stroke. I was told my spine was any worse, I needed surgery. That sucks. I hope you don't need surgery, my friend. Mr. Cap says, any thoughts on the Mecha random $3 theater issues? I don't know the details. That's the thing. Someone brought it up earlier. I don't know any of the details on it. The Marines have no ships of their own. They also don't have medics. They use Navy hospital corpsmen. Yes. The Marines are about as specialized as a fighting force can be. Alexander says, we should have YouTube adult when we could see MCU main naked. Yeah, that's called PornTube. Wesley says, oh, and here comes the buzz. Okay. When I was a kid, I got advertised to all the time, especially on Saturday morning, cereal, toy, McDonald's, Hot Wheels ads, etc. I know. And yet, somehow we survived. Jeff says, I'm trapped in an episode frame of mind. Oh, I'm trapped in the episode frame of mind. I don't remember that episode, so now I don't know what your reference is. Where the hell's my hoverboard and Mr. Fusion Checker and get those damn kids on my land? Good question. I want my flying car. My grandfather was in the Navy, got in by lying about his age. Well, that was a common thing a couple of generations back. Daniel says, Andrew, Elvis learned karate in the military in the 50s. They had martial arts in the military back then? Well, apparently so. It depends on what your MOS is. Or whatever they call it these days. Your job skill, basically. If it is necessary to learn hand-to-hand combat, you will learn hand-to-hand combat. And depending on the type of position, you might learn a lot of hand-to-hand combat. I'm at 99 subs. I would love to hit 100 before the end of the year. Well, that's over 2 hours for me still. Well, then you're fine. Somebody do me a favor. Subscribe to Vile Mike so he doesn't complain all night. and get him over 100 subs, please. He's a good, and by the way, Vile Mike is actually worth subscribing to. Him and his Vile Child reviews of classic Trek are absolutely priceless. Rocksolid says, RC A-10 Warthogs are interesting to fly. I've never flown an RC plane. DJ says, he learned martial arts later on, used it to try and stay in shape. I did not know that, so there you go. I've never been an Elvis fan, so there you go. I'm just kind of ignorant when it comes to the king. Thank you very much. Right now we have clients. I'm here to get a pay without working. Okay. The Marines are occasionally utilized as a roving nuclear patrol around ships' reactors. We had to deal with Marines when the T'Prang was being decommissioned. They don't F around. No, they do not. Valor says, after your stream, I'll be celebrating New Year's with my girlfriend who is dressed up in her finest Klingon leather armor. Valor, I want to see a picture of that Klingon leather armor. I'm trying to get some Klingon leather armor for Mrs. Anti-Trekker. She said she'd wear it if I take her to a con. Let's see. Sci-Fi says, let's give Anti-Trekker a New Year's gift by getting him to 13,000 in subs before or on New Year's. Well, the problem with that, Sci-Fi Sith, is I'm sure all of you are already subscribed to my channel. But thank you for the sentiment. Except that it's the 21st century. All the books are on tablets, writing instruments, etc. Well, that's true. Yeah, the Warthog is like a flying tank. She lays down heavy fire and can take it as well. Yeah, the Warthog is a badass plane. I tell you, it is an absolutely badass plane. Wesley says, new super chat. Tell Josh he's crazy and awesome. He is both crazy and awesome. I agree. He's definitely my son. I wouldn't say I like the Klingon bird of prey. My favorite Klingon ship is the D7 Katenga. Yeah, me too. That's where you and I can agree, Darren. I think the D7/Katenga class is an absolutely iconic design. And thank you. I didn't even see who that was, but it was Indy Tiger put $20 into the chat. Thank you so much, Indy. Says, love the balance of terror breakdown, but normal phasers are used to destroy and nuke. DS9 Defiant had pulse phasers, but normal phaser are used to destroy nuke, and Deep Space Nine Defiant had pulsed phasers. Happy New Year. Well, Deep Space Nine, the Defiant did have pulse phasers, but that was the introduction of that. Although some people argue that the phasers in Star Trek II were actually the predecessor to the Defiance phaser cannons. I would just say that was just a different visual interpretation of phasers from an artistic standpoint. And the whole thing, like when I talk about and I know I talk about it for a minute or two in the video as far as the phaser set to proximity blast, it doesn't really matter. It's not a hill I would be willing to die on. It's just my own. I was just kind of explaining my own personal headcanon. It looks like a photon torpedo. It sounds like a photon torpedo. So I always just thought of it as a photon torpedo. It doesn't make a lick of difference, except that calling it a photon torpedo makes it line up with canon a little better. And, and some guy was like all indignant and calling me a deceiving liar because of that part of the video. Whatever. What's the difference between the Marines and the Navy SEALs? Well, the Navy SEALs are kind of the Navy equivalent of Special Forces, the Green Berets. They are the baddest of the badasses, right? The Navy SEALs are one of the most badass fighting units on the planet. The Marines are much, much larger than the Navy SEALs. The Marines are an entire military group as opposed to a single unit. And so the Marines could actually invade a small country. The SEALs could, take out a warlord in his compound. If that makes a little more sense. Alexander says, I eat poutine now. Well, I actually would love to try. I know that one of these days I want to get up and visit with Captain Foley in Canada. And when I do, I will definitely try some real Canadian poutine. My friend was joking about the Marines, a bit of a military branch humor. Oh, that's all right. Yeah, Marines, you don't mess around with. I only have 91,873 away from 100,000. I can get there by New Year's Eve. Anti-Checker, New Year's Eve, 7329, perhaps. Yeah, so I'll race you then to Rock Solid. So I may have beat you to 10,000, but so now we're going to have to reset the race. But because you never know, one of us, if you got traction on something, you could shoot past me. So don't write yourself out of the race yet. Sorry for bringing up the whole military thing in this live stream. Oh, no, Bill. Here's the thing. Just so you know, since you're relatively new around here, I don't have topics. We just talk. We hang out. That's what I do. If I have a specific topic, you would know it. But generally speaking, we just hang out and talk about whatever we feel like talking about while killing time and being friends. And sometimes we laugh together, sometimes we cry together, but we always try to support each other. And that's the main thing. We are a nerd community, and my live streams are 100% about building the nerd community. Nothing else. Verbose 1127 says, "What's up, Anti-Trigger? Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you, Verbose. My great uncle lied about his age and died on Iwo Jima. Wow. Shouldn't have lied." Joseph says, "Great job in the Bounce Terror video, and nice to see you toasting the new year with milk." Yeah, milk. That's some strong milk. Darth Maul says, "Need to go. The wife and I need New Year's together. Bless y'all and your house." Thank you, Darth Maul. You take care of yourself, and thank you for hanging out with us. Sci-Fi Nation says, "Bird of Prey had an epic rant about flying cars today, and Vile is trying to catch up to me now." Yeah, Vile, you better watch out. Vile's gonna beat us all soon. The Renegade says to Vile Mike, "Done." So is Vile Mike now over 100 subs? He better be, because I'm sick of him whining about it. Let's see. "I was made by old school Star Trek. That's how my parents got together in the early 70s. Thank you, Star Trek." Well, there you go. A direct, Bolvine, you are the direct product of the original series. Wow, at 104. Thank you, everyone. Awesome, Vile Mike. So there you go. Don't say I never did anything for you. And when you are at 1 million subs, you damn well better plug my channel on a regular basis. What does Indie Tiger win for being your 100th sub? Good question. Darren says, "I saw MC Warthog once. I was mesmerized. It was so slow. I couldn't figure out how it was staying airborne. Later, I read about their VTOL. I didn't think the Warthog had vertical takeoff and landing ability. I did not know that. But I know the Warthog is a badass plane to watch in action. Valor says she had the leather armor from Star Trek Online made for herself. Wasn't cheap. Oh man. Oh, I want to see some pictures of it so I can show that Mrs. Antrager, see if she'd do that. Hit the like, everyone. A Bird of Prey gives you a New Year's Eve kiss. Ooh, that's a serious threat. And thank you again, Indie Tiger, for the $20. I truly, truly appreciate that. DJ says, "Joshua must have got the creativity from Mrs. Anti-Checker." Wow, that was mean, DJ. Bird of Prey barely described why you asked me to tell him to Bird of Prey barely described why you asked me to tell him to pronounce my name today. Did he actually pronounce your name though? Because here's the thing, Bird of Prey, he struggles with some words, and Rocinante was one of them. And let's see, Darren says, "The D7 Katinga looks like it was made by Russians to me. Apropos, considering the Klingons basically were the Russians on TOS. I don't know. It doesn't look like maybe it just looks like it's built for combat, as opposed to the Federation ships are built as all-purpose vessels. And Indie Tiger is agreeing with me about something, but I can't remember what. If a starship fires, probably about my headcanon thing. If a starship fires a phase and it misses its target, does the phaser beam continue on forever? Based on the dialogue from Balance of Terror, you would think the answer is yes. Because Kirk actually was pointing out that the plasma has limited range, which would imply that phasers have unlimited range. Darren says, "I agree on the proximity phasers thing from your video in the beginning. They didn't have it all figured out." Yeah, that's all it is. I mean, and the problem is that some people, and I understand, we all do it, we all have our hills to die on, but some people, when we get talking about canon, it can get into a serious fight. It really, really can. Daniel's Hot Topic says, just sub to Scarved Insect. This vid made called My Neighbor is a Vampire so funny. Better than the crap they churn out in today's media. I tell you, yeah, and it's very original. We just watched Joshua's
I was watching
video. Okay. Mrs. Anti-Checker just came upstairs. So
Hey guys.
So you can say hi to Mrs. Anti-Checker. I know I'm a little behind in the chat, but when we get to some stuff, and let me bring up, what time is it? I want to make sure I don't fall too far behind.
It's 11:36.
Okay, so we got a little bit of time. So we're basically talking about all sorts of random stuff.
Okay.
Renegade says, I agree about the torpedo phaser depth charges. That's sort of retcon I can live with. Not the Klingons almost took over the Federation before TOS and no one talks about it. Yeah. Or the super spore drive, or the fact that, gee, everything that Kirk apparently discovered in the original series, Discovery discovered first. Whatever. Live with Matthew says, we were talking about this on Bird of Prey 5 stream, but how would you define high sci-fi or hard sci-fi? So, that's a good question. So, high concept sci-fi is stuff where the concept of whatever the thing out there is, the MacGuffin thing, is something like so crazy outrageous. Like, think about the monolith from 2001: A Space Odyssey, right? And in fact, we want to look at like TOS, which you guys know is my favorite Trek, the giant space amoeba, right? Something just so bizarre, so out there, that it's like it boggles the mind that something like this could in fact exist. And so that's like high concept sci-fi. Hard sci-fi, hardcore sci-fi, I can sum up in one freaking word: The Expanse. The Expanse is an absolutely flawless example of a combination of both high concept sci-fi, if you look at the Sphere in season 4, but also hard sci-fi, meaning that every piece of tech they use, if we had the Epstein drive, we could build every one of those ships today. So, you know, there's very little, there's very little fictional tech needed to justify the various ships we see on the Expanse. All you really need is the Epstein drives, which allow them to travel around the solar system much faster than we can today, and the gravity drugs that they use that allow them to burn in G forces that would kill a normal person, or in the case of the Belters, allow them to adapt to live in a gravity environment. Which, by the way, that's another thing that's also hardcore sci-fi, is the very concept of the Belters, which I know they get into more in the books, is that they can't survive in a gravity environment because generationally they've been in space for too long. That is a real thing. That is something that groups like NASA have been very concerned about if we ever permanently colonize space, is that people that live in space after a couple of generations would never be able to return. And Roxanne says, no more races unless it's a race to the bottom. Well, you're definitely going to win that race since you managed to put Bird of Prey 5 on there for your video. Actually, that video was really good. Navy SEALs were a secret for many years. Once they started getting featured in films, all of a sudden the fake ones started popping up out of the woodwork. Yeah. We're off to bed. Night. See you next decade. All right, Rock Solid. You take care, my good friend. Darren says, people don't realize that Navy SEALs recruit Marine and Army personnel in addition to Navy personnel. If the Marines are Klingons, the SEALs are basically Jedi Knights. That's a good way to put it. And okay, man, the chat jumped on me. Bradley says, I have 13 subs and no videos. Well, you must be doing something right. Put some videos out and all of a sudden you'll be a bigger channel than mine. Renegade says, Anti-Trigger, for those complaining about the lack of flying cars, there's the PAL v Liberty, blame the flight authority in your country. Mage Gray Wolf says, where most kids watch football with their dads, I watch TOS. Well, then you had a better dad than most kids. And Rock Solid and Mike both say no vertical takeoff and landing on the A-10. I didn't think there was, but according to Darren, there was. I may be confusing the Warthog with a vertical takeoff and landing. The Warthog was slow, though, but overarmed for a jet its size. Well, yeah, and the Warthog has really, really wide wingspan for a plane its size. Its design is to be able to maneuver at very low altitude and be able to shoot targets on the ground. Most planes can't really effectively attack the ground. Describe a Kurogan New Year's celebration. Well, mostly involves sending orphans to the uranium mines and drinking their blood. The D7 reminds me of Russian architecture is what I'm trying to say. I get it, but I don't necessarily see that. I can see like in the bulb in the front is kind of a Russian looking thing. But overall, I just think it just looks like a Predator to me, and that's why I think it looks really cool. I look forward to more live streams when I don't have homework and classes. Well, Bill, you will always be welcome, especially since you are a fellow soldier. And then Thomas, Night Breeze, Mary, Richie Poole, Farmer's Daughter, Mage Grey Wolf, Elwin, Tubin, and DJ, and Vile Mike all say hi to you.
Hey, everybody. I would never remember all those names, so just hey.
And of course, DJ has to say, "Hail, Mrs. Anti-Trekker, Queen of all turds, bow down before your queen."
Okay, thank you. My loyal subjects.
Sci-Fi Nation says, just imagine traveling at warp and hitting a stray phaser blast. Talk about a bad day. No kidding. Bill says, Bill is a relatively new subscriber. He says, how you doing, Mrs. Anti-Trekker? LOL, my Joey impression is bad.
Your Joey impression.
I guess like did Joey from Friends say how you doing or something? Or how you doing? I don't know.
I don't know.
Nightbreeze, any method of concealment, cloak, or only through light redirect? Is any method of concealment cloak, or is it only through light redirection? Well, if it wasn't really turning something invisible, they would just call it stealth. But as far as in the Trek universe, a cloak means total invisibility. But in real life, yeah, it could be pretty much anything. That reminds me, I was minding my own business playing Star Trek Online. All of a sudden, I'm doing Discovery stuff. That pissed me right the F off. I don't blame you. Daniel says, Mrs. Anti-Trekker, please get Anti-Trekker into Star Trek Section 31. He's going to love it.
Hello.
Okay.
And Bolden D. Herder put in $10. Thank you so much. And asked, what is our favorite season of Star Trek The Next Generation? I know for you, it's like none of them. But not the first two for sure.
Yeah, that's true.
I would say for me, it's tough because the later seasons have some of my favorite episodes. Like you look at episodes like Chain of Command or The Inner Light, the really good stuff. But I'm going to say season 3, not because of the actual content of season 3, but that was the turnaround for the show. That's when the show became good. And so that's, for me, I'll say season 3, just because that was when Star Trek The Next Generation was saved and actually became a decent show. And by the way, when Daniel's saying for me to get into Section 31, he's talking about this version of Section 31. There's a new Star Trek Discovery show about Section 31 coming, and that you should get me to watch it because it'll be awesome. Yeah. I don't think you're going to convince her, Daniel. And let's see. Indy Tiger says, yes, I agree with your headcanon on the Balance of Terror headcanon. Thank you. Valor says, I asked her and she said no, and I think I upset her for saying anything about it. I think I'm in trouble. I'm sorry, Valor. Valor's wife has a custom leather Klingon armor, and I was like, ooh, can you send a picture? Because I was like, thinking about you.
Oh, okay. Well, that's too bad.
Yeah. A-10 was designated as a tank killer. Indeed it was, and it is. It is deadly to tanks. Obviously, I don't know planes and jets like I do ships. The only piston prop plane I really like was the P-38. Yeah, the P-38's not going to do much. 2020 is by average the hottest year in the history of mankind, according to CNN. Alexander says, what does Mrs. Oh, yeah, okay, you remember Alexander, right?
Yes.
Okay, Alexander says, what is Mrs. Anti-Trekkers thinks about Rise of the Gungans? Have you signed the petition so that they will make a Rise of the Gungans Star Wars movie?
Hell no.
Hey, sorry. I tried, Alexander. I tried, but no. I think that was pretty definitive there. Tom says, we are loyal to the Queen of Turdistan, to the President, not so much. Wow. Darren says, Miss Antriger on your left now. She used to be seated on your right. Well, I told you I rearranged the computer. So yeah, she's on the left now. On your left. What's your favorite movie of 2019, and what was your least favorite movie of 2019? Wow. Well, favorite's a tough one because I really liked Avengers Endgame, but I really was shocked about how much I was going to like the Joker. But I would probably say one of those two. What do you think?
I agree. Yeah.
As far as worst movie that we've seen this year, I'm stumped. I mean, Rise of Skywalker was not great, but it wasn't horrible. I'm trying to think, were there any real stinkers that we saw at the box office this year?
I don't think so, but we don't really go see.
Yeah, we've been kind of good at avoiding most of the crap this year. So I would probably have to say Rise of Skywalker, even though I thought it was okay, but it was the least okay of the movies that we saw.
Yeah, I agree.
Daniel says, I really enjoyed your video on the Battle of the Neutral Zone complete breakdown. It was a fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Even my friend Monk of Magnesia loved it. Well, good. I'm glad that Monk of Magnesia, that's an interesting name. How much time we got?
It is 11:47.
Okay. I need to bust open the wine in a moment here. Jeff says, Frame of Mind is the episode where Riker alternates between different scenarios of training for a covert mission, rehearsing and performing in Crusher's play, and being in an insane asylum. Man, I barely remember that. It sounds familiar, but probably one I just haven't seen in a long, long time. The problem is, and especially in the modern age, like when here's this, when I was a kid, this is going to be one of those kind of stories. When I was young, and when Mrs. Antichecker was young, and when some of the older people in the chat were young, you didn't get to pick what episode of Star Trek you would watch. You just watched what was on that day. And every day in my area, every day at 6:00 p.m., a Star Trek episode was on, and that was the one you were going to watch. Maybe it'll be Balance of Terror. Maybe it'll be And the Children Shall Lead. You don't know. Thank you, Richie. I didn't think of that. Captain Marvel. That was a 2019 movie. So Captain Marvel was definitely worse than Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, I agree. That was.
So thank you, Richie. I completely forgot about Captain Marvel. Anyway, so you just had to watch that episode, which means that if you're a fan of a series like I was of Star Trek, you memorize every single episode. However, then fast forward to the streaming era and everybody having DVDs and, of course, earlier on VHS tapes of all the episodes, and you just watch your favorite episodes and you forget about the rest. So, like, I have every line of dialogue from Best of Both Worlds memorized in my head. I love that flute song from The Inner Light. I love, the whole thing with Captain Jellicoe in Chain of Command. But then you mention an episode that isn't one of my favorites, and I'm like, huh? Because I haven't watched that one probably in 20 years, Indie Tiger says, Mrs. Antrick has a pleasant speaking voice. Maybe she needs her own channel and icon. Well, she does have her own icon. I don't have it handy, but she actually does have her own channel. She just doesn't post content. And by the way, look at that. She is freaking hot. Look at that. Oh, man. All right, and so let's see. When Miss Antricker was young, it was yesterday.
I wish. And I get to be older in a couple of days.
Yeah, so. Mrs. Antricker's birthday is actually day after tomorrow. Antricker is a cradle robber. Actually, she's actually just months younger than me.
I am a pregnancy younger than him.
Yeah. What about the worst movie of the decade? And the best movie of the decade?
I have no idea. I'd really have to think about that.
That's a tough one, because from 2010 to 2020, I would probably have to say best movie would be Avengers Infinity War. Not Endgame, but Infinity War, because that was like this huge moment that was just well. Then again, I mean, maybe because there's the original Avengers was such a huge event. There's so many good ones. I don't know. That's gonna take a lot of thought. All right, so hold on. I'm gonna get to the chat in a minute, but first of all, will you grab the wine out of that?
Is it?
All right, so this is our actual French sparkling wine. Unfortunately, Mr. Fauvark is not here right now, but I would point out that the name of the wine does have Luc spelt the French spelling there, just like Mr. Fauvark. And let's see if I can manage to get this stupid thing open without hurting myself. Let's see. Mary says she is also a January baby. Alexander, do you still think Flintstones 2099 is a good idea? I never thought Flintstones 2099 was a good idea. Renegade says, for the same reason I know all of TOS, TNG, and Deep Space Nine, I'm pretty good with Voyager, hit and miss with Enterprise. I only remember the bits I hated from Star Trek Discovery. Yeah. Discovery, oh man, that's painful. And let's see. Mage is up to 3 shots of vodka, not feeling it. Let's see. Since there are red, yellow, blue, and black alerts, we need to come up with a brown alert for you. Well, that would mean, yeah, it didn't quite make it to the restroom, I think. Your wife looks like the Question. Yes, she does in that picture. She wouldn't know who the Question is, but the Question is a comic book character that has no face.
Oh, okay.
Loquisha says, Happy New Year from New York. Thank you, my friend. And let's see. Anti-Trigger, have you ever seen the Star Trek Deep Space Nine episode In the Pale Moonlight? Well, of course. I've seen every episode. And In the Pale Moonlight is it's a very good episode. I think it's a little overrated just because people always talk about it. But it's a very good episode. Mrs. Anti-Trigger's birthday takes place when the next Ice Age comes on. You said the day after tomorrow. Oh, geez, that's bad. And let's see. Happy New Year to Mrs. Anti-Trigger. Original Avengers was such a big thing. It really was. DJ says, Happy birthday, Mrs. Anti-Trigger, Queen of all turds. I'll bow down before the birthday queen.
Hello, world.
And
I got him! Great kid! Don't get cocky!
pop off. I was looking for like a towel or something, but I don't have.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Mix it.
Oh, hurry. Oh. Yeah. Let's see. All right. Let's see. And Matt G, well, let me hold on. I think I missed one. Yeah, Matt G put $5 into the chat. Thank you. Says, what Star Trek have you seen in the movie theater? I've seen Generations, Nemesis, the JJ trilogy, and 6 TNG episodes, including Best of Both Worlds. I have seen every single Star Trek film in the theaters on opening day, with the sole exception of Star Trek 6, because for that particular one I had to work the night of the opening, but we went the next day. And me and Mrs. Anti-Trekker have seen every Star Trek opening together since Star Trek 5. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
All right, so how are we doing on time?
You have 6 minutes.
6 minutes, okay. Good. This will breathe a little bit, and then we'll be fine. Just want to make sure, hopefully it doesn't explode everywhere. All right, so we'll let the wine breathe, and so let me bring up the timer so I don't forget, because since this is the official one for me, I want to make sure I get it on time here. What is it in Murfreesboro? All right, so we'll bring this screen up, and if it'll load, now it's going to fight me. Renegade says, worst movie of the decade was Star Trek Into Darkness. Star Trek Beyond, I'm sorry, was worse than Star Trek Into Darkness, in my opinion. Oh, what? It's not gonna... I can't get a clock for Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Okay, fine, we'll do Nashville. What time is it in Nashville? Bunch of jerks. All right. Wow, it doesn't now. It's not showing the clock like it was before. What a bunch of. Oh no, there it is, right in front of me. I'm an idiot. All right. Let's see. But I think Star Trek Beyond was definitely worse than Star Trek Into Darkness. But there are worse movies than either. For example, Birdemic. Holy crap, Birdemic. The Room. There were some really, really bad movies. And let's see. Mary says, my birthday's on the 31st. So, yeah, that's same birthday as our daughter, actually. How old are you, Mary? Richie says, alert, midnight is fast approaching in the Central Time Zone. Yes, we are almost there. 3 minutes and 20 seconds. Wow, really? That's neat to know, says Mary. Piano Dean says, successfully performed Baby Got Back for you and Mrs. Anchecker. I just have to upload it. Awesome. Piano Dean actually plays the piano.
Oh, okay.
And he asked if I had any requests earlier, so I said Baby Got Back. Right?
Oh, okay.
Obviously, the movie of the decade was Warcraft. Warcraft wasn't bad, but no, definitely not movie of the decade. Bill says, Mrs. Anchecker, I hope you didn't take my comments as disrespectful, ma'am.
No, I said it's all good.
Yeah. I've converted several Star Wars only fans to Star Trek with Star Trek 6. Star Trek 6 is a great movie. I still think Star Trek 2 is a little bit better, but Star Trek 6 is definitely a great movie. It's a good send-off for the original crew. And Star Trek Generations never happened. Daniel says, people say Deep Space Nine and the Pale Moonlight betrayed Roddenberry's vision because it was a war drama and it had Starfleet captain being associate to murder, but I would argue that is why Deep Space Nine is so good. I would argue that, first of all, and if you've seen my Why I'm Called the Anti-Trekker, you should know this already, I don't give a crap about Gene Roddenberry's vision. Just going to put that out there. Do not care. I could not care less as to whether or not it follows Gene Roddenberry's vision. What I care about is it good storytelling? In the Pale Moonlight was good storytelling. Discovery is not. It's not about it being a war drama or someone being an associate to murder, because guess what? You have both of that in Star Trek Discovery, and Discovery sucks. It's about it being well executed. So, and that's the problem. So basically, you didn't see Star Trek 6 at all because you didn't see it opening day, and you call yourself a real Trekker. Actually, I'm a real Trekkie. Thank you very much.
Yeah, get that right.
I like Beyond, but hated Into Darkness. Still hate Into Darkness. Well, I'm sorry, Mary. I cannot stand Star Trek Beyond. And one of the things that really pisses me off about the J.J. Abrams Trek is they doubled down on the whole Starfleet isn't the military thing, and that was the entire plot of Star Trek Beyond. And Alexander says, the best movie of the decade is still The Final Frontier, even if it is the other decade. Oh, jeez. All right, less than a minute to go. Let's pour this. All right, almost. Let me get over to the main screen here, and hopefully I'll get the delay about right this time.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And Happy New Year to
Still got a couple seconds.
the time zone, the Central Time Zone, which includes us, of course. Remember, there's a
There,
little
yeah.
Not that bad.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
And I would much rather be doing other things with Mrs. Anti-Trekker, but we are on a live stream. So, Alexander, I know you love The Final Frontier, but no, it's not the best movie of any decade. And Nightbreeze put $2 into the chat and said, Happy New Year to Anti-Trekker and all, and death to disco. Everybody, that is still everybody's favorite super chat.
I know.
For good reason. It's so freaking awesome. And yeah, these glasses that we're drinking from are from a restaurant called The Melting Pot. If you've never been there, it's a fondue place, and they're really good. And me and Mrs. Antricker got them at our anniversary, as opposed to our most recent anniversary. We went to medieval times where I got this, but this isn't quite appropriate for drinking French sparkling wine. What?
Puka.
Oh yeah, the dog is whining. Darren says The Fanatic, John Travolta film, was probably the worst film of the year. I didn't see it. Thomas says, Antricker, you're not supposed to ask a lady her age. Ask her what?
Oh, you asked Mary how old was she?
Oh,
You know what? I don't care. I'll tell you what my age
here's
is.
the thing. You know what? I can't see Mary. I don't know what she looks like, so I think it's appropriate if you can't see the person to ask. It's not appropriate if you're talking to someone, because obviously if you see, like most people see Mrs. Antricker and they think, oh, so you're like what, in your 30s? You know, and then she tells them their age, and then the next thing they hear is clear. Let's see. Tim Christ says The Room. Come on, that movie's so bad it's kind of good. Yeah, if you think The Room is so bad it's good, you've got to see Birdemic. It makes The Room look like Citizen Kane.
We need to watch the second one.
Yeah, I know. The Birdemic is so bad. And by the way, if you like Riff Tracks did a wonderful live in Nashville of Birdemic that is absolutely hilarious. The only Trek movies I saw on opening night were The Undiscovered Country and Generations. Never saw the motion picture or the first Calvin movie in the theater. Like I said, I saw all but Undiscovered Country, and that was just because of a work conflict. Tubin says, Frank Sinatra did not kiss Freddie Mercury. It's bullshit. He did not. Oh, hi, Auntie Checker. I could actually see Bird of Prey saying that. Roddenberry's vision was dull and crappy. I agree. If you can get her if you want. It's okay. We'll show everybody Puka, because Puka is a dog that is the only thing, in my opinion, in this world that is cuter than Baby Yoda. Ozzy says Antricker is proof that even nerds can find love. Thank you, Mrs. Antricker, for all your patience with this mob and misfits. All the best in 2020. And you didn't hear that, babe, but Ozzy says that I am proof that even nerds can find love. Thank you to you for all your patience with this mob of misfits, and all the best in 2020. Indie Tiger says best movie series of the 2010s, Sharknado series.
Oh gosh.
Best one-off movie, Battleship. Sci-Fi Sith says by the time you read these, it'll be Happy New Year. So Happy New Year. Thank you. Darren says, my least favorite JJ film was the 2009 film. Couldn't get past the Cadet Kirk being made first officer. That was unforgivable. I understand that, Darren, and maybe because I was never in the Navy, that didn't bother me as much, but it does bother me thinking about it. But really, Star Trek Beyond with their whole anti-military plot pissed me off. Dirty Charisma says, Happy New Year from Fort Worth, Texas. Thank you, my friend. I hope you are having a wonderful evening yourself. I know I'm a little bit behind in the chat. Tom says, let me be the first person to tell you you are wrong.
That's funny.
Okay, so let me show you this little rat. This dog is the only thing, in my humble opinion, that is cuter than Baby Yoda. And no, I'm not even kidding. Say hi to everybody. This is Puka. Puka weighs all of 3.5 pounds, and she is full grown. Look, she is a tiny, tiny little Pomeranian, and she is Mrs. Anti-Trekker's constant companion. All right, so Daniel says, Happy New Year, Anti-Trekker. You're caught up. Well, not anymore. Oh my God, I have perfect vision 2020. Renegade says, I'm one of two, I assume. I'm not going to completely disagree with you about the double down on sci-fi not being the military. The characters state that several times, yes. But at the same time, the JJ science fiction, SF was more military than the series, more military uniforms, a war-hungry admiral, etc. Yeah, which is kind of funny. Vinyl says 2 more hours till I see 2020. Fun fact, right as I'm typing, this is 17:01 hours here. Looks vaguely like the Planet Killer.
Oh, maybe you're.
Oh yeah, the horn. Okay, I was like, what?
Yeah, where'd you put that?
It's right there.
No, where'd you? It's back there.
The horn. Oh, the Planet Killer is over there. Yeah. Sorry. Mary says, I answered, I'm 35. It's okay. Okay. So, yeah, you were born a few years before our daughter, but not that many. Tom says, you fondue like Agent Carter and Howard Stark. That's right. Mr. Miles has 2 more hours to go. I know, yes. Vultures of Horror is better than Birdemic. I've never heard of Vultures of Horror, but that sounds horrible, which is probably a good thing. Rift Tracks is awesome indeed. Favorite found footage movie? What do you think? Favorite found footage movie? I know you really like that recent one with John Cho. The searching, his daughter.
Oh yeah. But I completely can't remember.
Well,
the original one.
Blair Witch was the one that really got the genre going.
That we remember we talked about that for 3 days straight.
Yeah, Blair Witch was good, but I would probably, for me personally, probably be Cloverfield, but that's because I've always been a big monster movie fan. Worst movie I've seen lately was a Turkey Day themed horror film called Thanksgiving. I've seen the box for that, but I've never watched the movie. I recommend watching Tommy Wiseau's Star Wars, a better sequel trilogy than the actual sequel trilogy. I love the Tommy Wiseau Star Wars videos. Some of those are so funny. When the EMS came to my grandmother's house, they asked her birthday, and she told me to go upstairs. Oh, that's funny. She's got class. Sci-Fi Nation says, is Birdemic worse than the Sharknado movies? Oh, by far. By far. In fact, and I am not making this up because I know if you've seen the Sharknado movies, you're going to think I'm crazy. The visual effects in the Sharknado movies are like freaking Star Wars compared to Birdemic.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. It is so funny. When the birds actually attack in Birdemic, it literally looks like clip art from Microsoft Paint. That's what, it's that bad. At least the sharks in Sharknado, while they look like crap, they're actual 3D models. These birds are 2D cutout pictures of birds.
And their noises don't match the birds.
Yes.
Their calls.
Where's Auntie? Auntie is downstairs because up here isn't arranged yet to where it's safe for her. The worst movie was Street Fighter Legend of Chun-Li. Didn't see that one. Looking at the trailers, I avoided that one like the plague. It looked horrible. Plus, anytime you have a movie whose lead actor's #1 claim to fame is to be a co-star in a series on the WB, that's a pretty bad movie. I've seen worse movie than that. It's called The Masher. It's a movie about a demonically possessed laundry press. Wow, is that real? But what about The Incredible Bulk? You remember that big purple thing?
Oh, that was really bad, wasn't it? Oh my gosh.
Mary says, that is a cute dog. JP's says, what the F is that thing? Bradley says, my uncle has like 6 of those. It's a tribble, says Crippled Bazooka. It's a cat. My cat is... Oh, cat. We have a cat that is 14 pounds.
No. He's 15 pounds.
15 pounds. And she's 3.5. Do the math. Looks like a tribble bred by a real dog. Puka is a tribble with legs. Yes. Oh my God, did that fur have eyes? Yes, she is so stupid cute. Happy New Year. Don't feed it after midnight. Darren says, I can't hate Beyond the way you do because the Franklin reminds me too much of the NX-01. Different strokes for different folks. I like the design of the Franklin. That's actually a plus. But, Death Dealer's in the house, says, hey, how you doing? Watch Frame of Mind again. It's really excellent psychological thriller of an episode. I will when I get a chance.
I got him! Great kid!
And Matt, donate $2 to the Super Chat, says, I saw something and I missed it because I was distracted. but we'll get to it in just a minute. Puka looks like a Tribble with eyes. She indeed does. Blair Witch Project, yes. Diary of the Dead. I don't think I've seen that one.
No.
Hate found footage. So I've seen theatrical Riff Tracks, The Room, and Sharknado. Oh, very nice. We saw Riff Tracks live, and I mean literally in the room with them, not one of the theaters that you could see it at, but they actually came to Nashville, which is near us, and we went to. They come to Nashville a couple times a year, and we saw Time Chasers, and oh man, it was so fun. Not just to watch them live, which was a blast, but the entire cast of Time Chasers was there. And so we actually, if you've ever seen Time Chasers, it's a really bad movie, but to have the entire cast there watching their movie getting made fun of, and then willing to hang out with the audience that enjoyed watching it getting made fun of, they're classy people. I mean, that was really cool. That one dude with the ridiculous chin.
Oh gosh, yeah.
I mean, just yeah. And the thing is that like this one guy, the main character of Time Chasers, he has this protruding chin that's just crazy the way it sticks out. And throughout the movie, during the riffing, they're constantly making fun of his chin, and then you're talking to him after you saw that, and it's impossible to not be staring at his chin. Did David Gerald borrow Robert Heinlein's flat cats to create Tribbles? I don't know, Andy. The Fog? ? Cloverfield was good. I suggest the Europa Project. It's got to. I haven't seen that one yet. I've heard it's all right. But most of the time, found footage is just like an excuse to make a cheap film. Which Fog movie, the OG or one of the remake? The OG Fog movie was good. Vultures of Horror is a Ugandan Christian film series about evil Satanists that use a demon to control killer vultures that shoot lasers. I didn't think that there's such a thing as a Ugandan film.
Why not?
I don't know. It's like they're so busy with warlords and slaughtering. When do they have time to make movies? Judge Dredd remake was awesome. It absolutely was. Carl Urban. Much respect for what he did there. He was really good in that. Have you ever seen the film Night of the Lepus?
Oh my gosh, that is horrible. It's bunnies.
Jeez.
It's bunnies.
That's the granddaddy of films like Sharknado and Birdemic. I haven't, but Mrs. Andy Trekker clearly has. Renegade says Sci-Fi Channel's Bigfoot with Danny Bonaducci and Barry Williams is pretty awful. Well, anytime the Sci-Fi Channel produces an original movie, it's usually pretty bad. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? Yes, it is. And there's Matt G's $2. Thank you so much. Oh, and I didn't see that. I'm sorry, probably because it came in right about the same time as Matt. But Cedric also put in $2. Says Happy Sealable 2020.
Did you do the Dust of Disco?
Earlier, yeah.
No, I guess I missed it.
Why?
Because you were saying that was everybody's favorite just a few minutes ago. Okay.
The Franklin, it's a good ship. I like the design, and of course, because your name is Jeff Franklin. It is a good name and a good ship. I actually really like the Franklin. I would like to see. I would love to see a Star Trek show based on a ship that size, because the Franklin is like the size of the Jupiter 2 from Lost in Space. It's a tiny little ship, and I think that would be cool to have a series where you could get to know the entire crew of the ship, not just the senior officers. But I just didn't like Star Trek Beyond. Let's see. Sci-Fi says, Aunt Trigger, Mrs. Aunt Trigger, well, reviewing terrible movies has become something of an art film. Yeah, that's true. And Riff Tracks takes it to a whole different level. And Editor Supreme, thank you so much. Puts in $2. That would be Mr. Miles, and says, Happy New Year. Thank you, my good friend. The Renegade says, speaking of Tribbles, I bought my wife a licensed one a few years back. Our daughter loved it, so my wife went to make her one. Then she made enough to bury our daughter like Kirk.
That's funny.
Yeah, I have a couple of licensed Tribbles, and that actually make the noise and stuff, but they're out of reach. Darren says, one thing I hated the most in Beyond was the space station called Yorktown. Yorktown should be the name of a ship, not a station, and the design sucked. Agree on both points. The Yorktown in fact, the Yorktown was a starship name in the original series. And so it doesn't make sense to name a station. I mean, that's like, if you had, oh, look, it's the Space Station Enterprise. No, that doesn't make any sense. And yes, the design was just completely uninspired. Tim Christ, it is real. I found in the 50-cent rental area family video. Thought, what the hell? Couldn't stop laughing when the laundry presses literally ate and folded the owner into goo.
Oh, you'll have to find that one.
I know. Oh, man. I'm going to have to... if you get a chance, Tim, tell me again what the name of that movie was, and I'll do a search for it. Alexander says, the Tribble Trilogy would be great. Of course. So we have a house full of Tribbles. Well, we have... Auntie, of course, is a dog. And then we have Puka that does not qualify as a dog.
Well, they have a house full of Tribbles, I think.
But yes, you guys have a bunch of Tribbles. But we have a real Tribble. Happy New Year, Maniacs, says Larry. Thank you. How many subs are you away from 13K? Bet you will get to 13K before February because of your fun personality. Well, thank you, Valor. And I'm dangerously close. So, I wouldn't be surprised if I hit 13K by the end of the week, to be honest. It's just that, not going to happen. It didn't happen in 2019. But I'm about 99% confident that I will hit 13,000 in 2020. In fact, I would say that is pretty, unless something really bad happens. Let's see. As of this moment, I am at 12,992. So I need 8 more subs to get to 13,000. Didn't Gene originally call the Enterprise Yorktown? I don't remember if that was the original name. I know it wasn't Enterprise originally, but Yorktown is a classic naval name. And let's see. Bill says, I commend your dedication to see the new year in Hawaii, but I got to get some sleep. Rock on, soldier. Take care, Bill. Thanks for hanging out. Mr. Miles says, first again. Wow, that's pretty impressive, being first twice. I don't know that most people could pull that off. And let's see. Oh, and Darren said footage of Night of the Lepus. Jeez, I don't know if I can...
It's just a bunch of rabbits
Yeah.
jumping around. I mean, it's ridiculous.
I watched Jonah Hex. This is amazing. Well, I'm sure in your mind it was. Will Mrs. Antichecker watch Barbie and the Rock and Royals?
Maybe.
Sci-Fi Sis says, Antichecker and Miss Antichecker would love to see both of you suffer and give us a review of Cats. Not gonna, no.
Yuck.
I'm telling you, Sci-Fi Sis, someone would have to pay for the movie tickets and a nice dinner and a couple of drinks afterwards to get me to go see Cats. Is Die Hard 2 a Christmas movie? I don't know. I don't know when Die Hard 2 came out. Night of Lepus is about giant mutant bunnies. Yes, sounds horrible. Night of Lepus, the film rabbits with an overcranked camera speed and play it back at regular speed to make them seem big. They're about the size of cars in the film. That's just horrible. Daniel says, I want to see a sequel to Jason X. Oh, man, you remember Jason X?
That was awful.
I think Cedric meant C-Lab. That would make more sense. Mr. Miles, forever first, I'm forever awesome. Bird of Prey is always be Bird, oh crash, and Anti-Checker is luckier, which is better than being awesome or first. Yes, I am definitely the luckiest. Happy New Year, Anti-Checker. May this be a great and healthy year for you and your family. Thank you, Zachary. I certainly hope it is. Are there 8 online now that aren't subscribed to Anti-Checker? I highly doubt it, or you wouldn't be hanging out with me in this stream. And if you are and you're not subscribed, then please do. But, I'm just saying, not likely. By the way, there's 93 people watching right now, and it's this late. That's crazy. Yeah. Die Hard is considered a Christmas movie by the large amount of people. Yeah, I consider Die Hard a Christmas movie, but Die Hard 2, I never really thought about. 30 data, 10 Picards, 50 Wars will make this mission a cakewalk, sir. Make it so. Okay. Die Hard 1 and 2 are based around Christmas. Die Hard 2 was the airport one. I remember it was the airport. See, I haven't seen Die Hard 2 probably since it originally came out. Star Trek space stations were always iconic. K7, DS9, Space Dock, etc. Then came Yorktown. Yeah. Alexander says, Jonah Hex was amazing. Yeah, amazingly bad. I don't know why you like bad movies, Alexander, but you should review these movies. Die Hard was released on Christmas Eve, so a lot of people consider it a Christmas movie. I do, too. But yeah, Die Hard 2. Yeah, I don't know. And Mr. West says, "Oh, Die Hard 2. Never mind. I have no opinion." Well, that's a first. And Thomas says, "We have no life. That's why we're here this late." Obviously, but I'm glad to have you because in approximately 39 minutes, it will be New Year's Day in the Mountain Time Zone. And of course, in an hour and 39 minutes, then the Anti-Child will be in the year 2020. 100 viewers is becoming a normal thing for you, Anti-Checker. By this time next year, it'll be 200 plus. That could be, and I'd be very excited. I just honestly, and I know this sounds crazy, I hope that the live streams never get to the level of Nerdrotic. Even though the money would be awesome, because like if you watch a Nerdrotic stream, you see the super chats just flying in. But he, and just so you know what I'm talking about, Nerdrotic commonly will have 2,000, 2,500 people on a live stream. And it makes it so that you can't like have that real conversation like we're having. And so where like you guys know, I try to read every chat that has my name in it, and it's tough, especially when you guys are feeling particularly chatty, but I try to do the best I can with it, and we can talk. If there were 2,000 of you here, I just have to pick random chats to respond to. Darren says, "Google the Fanatic. John Travolta looks a lot like you." I doubt that, but let me see. Because John Travolta looks nothing like me. But let's see. Let's see. All right, let's see. The Fanatic, John Travolta. Let's go to images. You think that looks like me?
Ew.
Really?
Yuck.
Wow. You and I are done, Darren. Josh says, "If Antichecker had Mrs. Antichecker on more often, you would hit 100,000 by the end of January. Demand morning coffee with Mrs. Antichecker." Well, you can demand it all you want, but that doesn't mean she's going to do it. Zachary says, "Antichecker will hit 100,000 subs this year." You guys are kind, but let's be real for a minute. My channel, here's the thing. I'm very proud of what we've done on this channel. Extraordinarily proud of what we've done on this channel. However, I don't expect this channel to suddenly catapult up to 100,000 subs. As awesome as that would be, I don't expect that. Mainly because I'm not the typical Fandom Menace person. While I do consider myself a part of the Fandom Menace until I get excommunicated, like I said, like with Rise of Skywalker, I gave it a 6 out of 10. I'm like the only person in the Phantom Menace that's willing to say it wasn't a horrible train wreck of a movie. And the problem is that I think that too many of us in the Phantom Menace have got dollar signs in our eyes, because a lot of people, their paycheck depends on them hating the Rise of Skywalker. Because right now, people are putting out videos attacking the Rise of Skywalker and getting 100,000 views. I put out a video saying, it wasn't bad, and I get 2,000 views, right? And so it would be a lot easier for me to attack it and bring in some money that way. But I'm not going to do that. However, the flip side of that is because of that, you guys are much more loyal. You guys I consider my friends. You guys trust me more than most people trust YouTube commentators. So I appreciate, and I do not want to abuse that level of trust. So as much as I would love to have 100,000 subscribers, and I think eventually the channel will, but it's not going to happen overnight. What happened to that damn Wharf series we were promised? Well, Michael Dorn's been busy drinking coffee. I don't know. Isaiah says, "No, Mr. Niles, your opinion is the only one that matters. That's the only reason why I subscribed to this channel. Sorry, I'm not sorry." Wow, okay. You should be within 4 subs now. Well, I haven't looked, but let's see. Did somebody subscribe? What do? Use all your sock accounts to try? I'm actually within 3 now. 12,997. Now, look, if you're using alt accounts to sub to bump up the numbers, don't. You don't have to do that. Because it's not the sub count that really matters. It's the view counts on the videos. The sub count is just an indicator of how your view counts are doing. You have the end channel for hanging out with us. Thankfully, that's true. By the end channel, I assume you mean the Rational Roundtable. And Mr. Miles says, yay, thank you. Aha, I have a fan. Yes, you have a fan. You do. Good luck with that. Darren says, I think you look better than Travolta, of course. Travolta's an ugly man trying to look nerdy, handsome, and fanatic. My mom used to call him John Travolta. Well, I don't think John Travolta's ugly, but I don't think he looks good in The Fanatic, that's for sure.
I think he's ugly.
Okay. Do you ever watch the Clone Wars? Yes, I not a lot because of time constraints, but yeah, I've watched a little bit of Clone Wars. I think the story's okay. The animation style sucks. The Renegade says, if you get excommunicated, you could start your own Phantom Menace, but with blackjack and hookers. That's right. That's going to be my Phantom Menace. You're kind of the old grandpa of the Phantom Menace. Yeah, kids today. I think that role that John Travolta played was that most looks like Anti-Checker is the Cyclos. Oh, man. Battlefield Earth.
Oh, ew. Come on, people.
That just hurt. Voodoo Priestess says, I hate new Star Wars, but I do believe your view brings balance to the fandom balance. Thank you. I appreciate that, Voodoo. John DeMarco said, and by the way, with a name like Voodoo Priestess, you should go to Portland, Oregon and have Voodoo Donuts. You would enjoy them. John DeMarco says, you always give your honest opinion, even when it isn't popular. We appreciate that, although it probably doesn't lend itself to rapid growth. Exactly. But I would rather have slow but steady growth and hold on to my soul. You know, that's kind of my opinion. Alec and Cedric puts another $10 into the chat. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Be honest, we respect that He-Man is remade. Why? He-Man is begin.
Huh?
Be honest, we respect that He-Man is begin remade. Why? Cedric, I'm not sure if you've been drinking.
I know, I was going to say.
I'm trying to figure out exactly what you mean there. So if you can't kind of try to put it in a regular chat, just tell me what you meant there. Oh, Mr. Miles, thank you. He-Man is being remade. Why? Okay, we'll get into that. He-Man, yes, they are making a He-Man movie. I don't know if you heard about that.
No, I didn't.
Yes. But here's the thing. He-Man was never made. I'm sorry, but the Dolph Lundgren Masters of the Universe movie was so freaking bad. It was horrible. And it was also not He-Man. So if they actually make He-Man like He-Man, that'll be the first one. Second of all, yeah, I don't really care. And what did Thomas say? Oh, look at that. My New Year's Eve. So this was from Thomas. I'll show it to everybody. So Thomas sent this picture. New Year's Eve plans, 11:59, drinking, 12 o'clock, all excited, 12:01, out.
Yeah, that's how I feel right now.
I love it, Thomas. So I'm not opposed to the He-Man movie, but I'm also not excited about the He-Man movie. I've never been a big He-Man fan, but then again, I'm older than most of you. So for me, I wasn't really looking for cartoons to watch at the time the He-Man came out. Travolta hasn't done anything good since Face Off. Was Phenomenon before or after Face Off?
I really don't remember.
Yeah, I liked Phenomenon, but I'm trying to think. You know, I mean, I'm not a huge Travolta fan, but I don't dislike him either. He can act. Antrigger, Mrs. Antrigger, how much money to get you guys to see Cats and do a review? I would love to see you guys tear the movie apart and get drunk while reviewing the movie. Well, I told you, you'd have to pay for the movie, dinner, and drinks after the movie. So the movie, we'll just say it's about $20. Dinner, we're not talking Burger King. We're talking about a real restaurant. So we'll say with tip and everything, we'll say $100 for dinner. So now you're up to 120. And then a couple of drinks, we'll say, if we go to a decent bar, we'll say $5 a drink, 2 rounds. So there's another 20. So 150 just to round it off because we got to give the bartender a tip. $150 and we'll watch Cats and tell you all about it. Wesley says, you bring balance to the fandom. It's like the chosen one of the Force. Yes. That's me, the chosen one, the turd. I think Rey is or was supposed to be the reincarnation of Mortis' goddaughter, only explanation for her powers. Well, the Palpatine thing kind of does make sense, the way they put it together. I think that they were originally, JJ was thinking of something else, but we'll never know. I do think there was a connection with her and Kylo, but I think it was a huge mistake to have her beat Kylo in the first movie. I think ultimately she should have been the big bad in the end, not Kylo. Dale says, hey friends, give Antrigger a like and wish him and Mrs. Antrigger a great new year. Thank you, Dale. I appreciate that. He-Man cartoon was good. I have the power. I do remember that. Vile Mike said, yes, the Dolph Lundgren movie was not a He-Man movie. It was a Masters of the Universe movie, and it was great. I wouldn't say that. JL1701 says, hey, Antrigger, just subscribed. Looking forward to viewing your previous videos. Live long and prosper. Thank you, JL. Indy Tiger says, Skeletor is a gym rat with a skull for a head. Yes. Master of the Universe was bizarre. How you know that popular cartoon toy line, let's make it a movie without any of the popular characters, settings, or vehicles. It'll do great. Yeah, exactly. What were they thinking? What were they thinking? Fun fact, Night of the Lepus starred DeForest Kelly. Well, there we go.
Yes, it did.
Yeah. So Zachary says, so someone give a $200 super chat, and cats it is. Absolutely. Quick, what's the best Dolph Lundgren movie? My thoughts is The Punisher. Best Dolph Lundgren movie.
Was he good in Rocky?
I liked him in Rocky 4, yeah. But I'm actually thinking Universal Soldier. Remember him and Jean-Claude Van Damme were the two brainwashed soldiers that were
did not remember that it was him. I haven't seen that in a long time.
So I'm going to say Universal Soldier just because I liked Jean-Claude Van Damme back then. 78 likes. Looks like some people want a Bird of Prey kiss. Yeah, that's true. If you don't like the live stream, then Bird of Prey will show up at your house and kiss you. Rey missed the defeat that a hero is supposed to suffer at the villain. Yes, agreed. And which teaches the hero humility. Yes, she should be the villain. She absolutely should have been, because I actually think it would have been really cool if Rey was the Anakin of the new series, because nobody would have seen that coming. I know the reason they didn't do it is because Kathleen Kennedy couldn't have the girl turn bad, because her whole thing was about making Star Wars for girls. But the problem is Star Wars was already for girls. So yeah. Wesley says, I'm trying to stay up. Don't think I'm going to make it. I don't know how much longer I'm going to make it either. I know I'm going to make it to the Mountain Time Zone, but I don't know about the Pacific. Cedric throws $2 in, says, JJ now Star Trek. Are you saying JJ is now Star Trek, or JJ... I'm not sure exactly what you mean, but I'll say this. The JJ era of Trek that began in 2009 and is continuing with Star Trek Discovery, I think is a mistake. I think that trying to make Star Trek hyperkinetic and basically feel like Star Wars is a huge mistake for the franchise. Star Trek is supposed to be high concept, hardcore sci-fi, not fantasy. And Star Wars is supposed to be fantasy. You know what? As much as people bitch and complain about why is it that Rey has the ability to force heal, really? You're going to bitch about that with all the other force powers that nobody, I'm sorry, why did Palpatine have force lightning? Why do any force powers exist? Star Wars is about wizards and laser swords, and it's fun, and it's good versus evil, and it's that classic tale of yin and yang and balance and all that, and I love that. But it's not high-concept sci-fi. Star Trek is supposed to be high-concept sci-fi, and when you try to make Star Trek like Star Wars, you make it generic. Daniel says, Star Trek Discovery Season 3 comes out in a few days. In a few days? Really? Why do we have to wait till 2020? It shouldn't have been out in October and November. Because reasons. I don't know. Renegade says Universal Soldier. Yes, that's the movie I was talking about. You should review Jonah Hex because it is a masterpiece. No, it is not. Who doesn't like Jean-Claude? God damn. I actually did like Jean-Claude.
We loved him.
We saw like all of his movies.
We sure did.
Matt G says, anyone ever see TV shows in the theater? I've seen Doctor Who, Game of Thrones, TNG, Twilight Zone, and unfortunately Inhumans. I have never seen a TV show in the theater, I don't think. Have you?
I don't think so.
No. Universal Soldier was totally rad. It wasn't that old.
No, it was not.
If someone gives you a super chat, wealth, $150 to review Cats, I will say I'm sorry for giving the audience the idea and make you guys suffer. It's okay. Bloodsport for me. I love Bloodsport. Chun-Li was like the Asian with the insanely big pecs, played by Bolo Young.
Yeah. I bought you that, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it did.
And the fighting in that I thought was actually really cool to see the different styles. The funny thing about Chun-Li, though, is that like that movie came out in the early 90s, and Bolo Young was in Enter the Dragon with Bruce Lee.
Wow. I'd have to go back and look. I'd have to go back and look at that, yeah.
Yeah, if you look for him, he's there. It won't be me to give you the $150 super chat. That's okay. And Deranged Lunatic says, how many do you need to get to the 13,000? Are you like, it's like every time you're asking me that, are you the same person just on a different account? I think that's what you're doing because you're cheating. Right now, we are at 12,998. We need 2. Disney Star Wars F-Boys, sorry, Finn. Okay. Whoa, and there goes. So we don't need to see that 7-minute pee break video. Well, not so far, but I can put it on if you want, Thomas. JP's Bison says force farts. Yeah, that's coming soon. Red Pill agrees. Thanks. Dolph is in Sharknado 5. Is he really? Oh man,
we haven't seen that though.
Yeah. Well, is that one even out yet?
I don't know.
And Valor puts $5 in, says, from my girlfriend, for you guys, sorry for not wanting to share, but it's a bit more revealing than he realizes. Anti-Trekker's better half gets to pick. So you get to pick a Super Chat or Uber Chat reward. So with the Uber Chats, they're labeled 1 through 13. 13 being the newest one that just came out today.
And so I just have to guess.
Well, you can pick a number and I'll play it.
10.
10. All right. So number 10 is what she picks, which is...
It's probably horrible.
Hello, everybody. Is your front yard not growing according to your plan? Are you unable to eradicate those pesky rebellious crabgrass? Call us. I am the lawn master, and everything will grow according to my design. Do it.
That was so funny.
Yeah, Mrs. Anti-Trekker's laughing because in Rise of Skywalker, if you haven't seen it, there is a moment that Palpatine says, do it.
And we laugh so loudly.
But yeah, see, that was, I think what happened was J.J. Abrams was watching my channel and saw that and was like, Palpatine, that's what we'll do. And to Valor, to your girlfriend, I understand. I'm not saying you need to take a picture of her in it because I understand that, might be a little shy about that. I'm just curious to see the design of it. But if she's not comfortable with that, that's totally fine. Obi-Wan tells Vader that if you kill me, I will become more powerful than you can imagine in the first movie. Rise of Skywalker finally pays off that statement. That's kind of true in that one thing that, and we talked about this before, and I don't know what you thought about this, but remember in the original Star Wars, Obi-Wan does say that if you strike me down, I will become more powerful than you can possibly imagine. Then what does he do? Run, Luke, run! That's all he does,
Yeah.
And then as a ghost, he sits down on a log and tells Luke about his sister. But in Rise of Skywalker, you see Force ghosts kind of kick ass. So Luke moves the X-Wing with his Force powers and catches the lightsaber and stuff. So you know, in a sense, Luke is what Obi-Wan predicted. Because how could you possibly... It's too bad. Like, if Luke went to the Emperor and fought him, how could the Emperor beat him? He's freaking dead. Anyway, back to the chat. Daniel says, have you seen Street Fighter with Jean-Claude Van Damme? That was a good movie, but failed because people hated it. Yes, and remember it had Raul Julia as...
Raw. I didn't see it, honey.
Yeah, we saw it in theaters.
No, we didn't.
Yes, we did.
No, we didn't.
You just don't remember.
No, we did not.
But yes, I did. I wouldn't say it was a good movie, but it wasn't a horrible movie. It was just kind of a movie. Love Bloodsport. Remember renting it back in the day? Oh yeah, I love that one. My Renegade says my wife, fiance at the time, and I saw TOS, the Menagerie in the theaters when they were re-releasing TOS on HD DVD. I bought them, and then the studios abandoned HD and went Blu-ray. Of course, that's what happens when you buy the wrong format. And let's see, then the chat jumped on me, so... Okay, there. Sharknado 6 was the last one. Wow, they've made 6? I think we've only seen, like, the first 2, right?
I thought we saw 3. Just 2? I thought we saw the third
I don't
one.
remember the third one. Yes, Chum-Li from Pawn Stars. No, it's Chun, C-H-U-N, not C-H-U-M. But I've never seen Pawn Stars, actually. But unlike Bird of Prey, I can say Pawn Stars without sounding like porn stars. Carlos says, how are you doing? Just finished work. Easy money. Hopefully it will sort out my money problems, and this will be a year of progress for us all. I hope so, Carlo. I'll tell you, I know it's like one of those knock on wood things, but I don't think that 2020 could be any worse than 2019 was. So
don't say that.
Yeah, I know. Carla says, is that Mrs. Antitrekker? Hello, Happy New Year to you, and I hope you both have a wonderful 2020. Yes, it is, Mrs. Antitrekker. Midnight's Edge is here, laughing at DJ Odyssey. Still going, yes. Well, actually, I stopped for a couple hours, and I'm back on, because we're ringing in the New Year in the United States now. Earlier, we were ringing in the New Year in Europe, but good to see you, whichever one of Midnight's Edge you are, because I never know. Darren says, I saw Street Fighter in the theater. Horrible movie. Yes. I enjoyed it, but I consider it kind of one of those, yeah, I knew it was crap, but I was enjoying it anyway. Kind of like Mortal Kombat, you know. Mortal Kombat, horrible movie, but a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, that one. Didn't we see, what did we see?
We saw the second one.
And there was no one in the theater but us.
Yeah, we saw Mortal Kombat Annihilation in the theaters, opening night, at a prime time slot, like it was like a 7 p.m. show, and we were the only ones in the entire theater. I'm glad Luke was able to raise the X-Wing and Antitrekker. It shows how far Luke had come since Empire when he couldn't do it. I kind of like that too. When are you going to start filming Turdnado?
Ew. Gross.
Alexander also, have you ever seen Zombie Strippers? I have not. I've heard of it, but I've never seen it. And it is Tom over at Midnight's Edge. All right, good to see you, Tom. Bloodsport, says Martin. Yes, Bloodsport is an awesome movie. Let's see. Disney could own even more properties than it does now in 2020. That is possible. Midnight's Edge is calling me a slacker. Yeah, like you've been streaming all day, jerk. Midnight's Edge is an all-encompassing entity. No, they are not. They are, but, you know, they just think they are. Because their boss has got one of the smoothest, coolest voices on YouTube, they think that they're all that. You have got to hear Andre sometime. When does Doomcock celebrate New Year's? I'm not sure, since he lives in the center of the planet. Although, I mean, technically he lives in Texas, so... depending on what part of Texas, I think Texas is split between Central and Mountain, but I'm not 100% sure. First Mortal Kombat isn't bad. Mortal Kombat 2, well, yeah, Mortal Kombat 2 was really bad. Wesley says, Antitrekker, Miss Antitrekker, all right, I'm done, too tired, work in the morning, have a good New Year's. All right, Wesley, you take care. And by the way, I know I was ribbing you earlier, but it was fun playing that Bridge Commander game, even though you suck at driving. DJ says, one last time, Midnight is always Tom, Robot slow-mo is always Rob. Well, I know that robot slow-mo is Rob, right? I know that. But the Midnight's Edge channel shouldn't, Tom should have, it should just say Tom. It shouldn't say Midnight's Edge. See what it throws me off. Pete Holmes' Street Fighter Red Tape series on YouTube is way better than the Street Fighter movie. I don't think I've seen it. Renegade says, buying the wrong format must be a family trait. When home video came out, my parents bought a Betamax, and then Australia abandoned Beta and went VHS. Well, that's because, honestly, the truth is the reason for that is because the porn industry went VHS. And so everybody switched over to VHS for porn. Happy New Year, and Trigger, and the Mrs. N chat. Hey, dude named Clem, how you doing? Vile Mike says, love Mortal Kombat. It was the best video game movie for a long while. Annihilation was bad, though. It was really bad. Man, you know it's bad when you have an ensemble cast and everybody got replaced. Alexander says you should watch it. No, Alexander. I don't need to watch zombie strippers. No. Wes says, good night and Happy New Year's to everyone. Good night, Wesley. Have a good one. 999.9 times out of 1,000, it's Tom. Rob is usually under Robot Shlomo. I get it, but you know what, Tom? I'm never going to remember. You know that. I mean, I get you guys confused even when I'm talking to you on the Midnight's Edge show. So, I just know you're the guys at Midnight's Edge. Tagline for Tornado, it's a real shitstorm.
That's good.
That would actually be really good. That could be a super chat right there that Joshua could do.
Yeah, well, you have to talk to him about that.
Antrigger, Mrs. Antrigger, if someone buys and sends you a DVD Blu-ray of Cats, will you review the movie then at home, and will you throw it in the garage? I will probably do a review, but I will review it in the same way that I reviewed Fant 4-Stick, which I know none of you would remember that because I was on a previous channel when I was doing the Untitled show about nerdy stuff. Fant 4-Stick review consisted of video footage of me placing the video on the ground, pouring gasoline on it, and lighting it on fire. And what time zone would that be? Hale Harvey, I'm not sure what time zone he is in. Carlos says, what do you think of the Dead or Alive film if you have seen it? I have not because it looked like crap. And I'll be honest with you, I think the Dead or Alive games are overrated. I played like the first one, but it just became a thing where people played it just because of the bouncing boobs. And quite frankly, when I play a fighting game, I play the fighting game because A, I find the characters interesting, and B, I find the fighting moves interesting. My favorite fighting franchise is, Tekken.
I told you.
I know. You always play as Jun Kazama, and you do that stupid move where you break my arm.
Okay, yeah. I don't know. We haven't played anything in so long.
I know. I was thinking about, we might do a streaming series where me and Mrs. Antricker play through Diablo 3 again in preparation for the release of Diablo 4. You guys let me know if you think that would be fun. Doomcock is on his own time. Hail Harvey. That's true. He is. Well, you can always ask Alex to loan his voice to the channel to combat Midnight's Edge. Yeah, that's true. Dr. Alex does have a really good voice, too. And so he could combat Andre. But Andre's got that, man, I mean, Andre's got a voice that's next level. Andre just opens his mouth and you're like, oh, he's right. Just because he sounds like he's right. And let's see. How are we doing on time? I don't want to...
10 minutes.
Okay. If you guys like MST3K, check out a really cool channel, Angry Wolf Media, Incognito Cinema Warriors. Really, really funny, fan-driven vids. Very cool. I love, man, I watched MST3K when it was first on. It was so fun. And they used to say, keep circulating those tapes, as opposed to now they say, keep circulating the IP address so that they can go buy stuff from us. Only 2 countries in West Texas are, only 2 counties in West Texas are Mountain Time. The rest is Central. Okay, I wasn't sure. I genuinely did not know because I've never lived in Texas. I'm sorry, Anti-Trekker. I forgot to proofread again. Midnight's Edge Prime is Andre, I think. Yes, He is freaking awesome. And Tom says, I have After Dark. Andre is just vanilla Midnight's Edge. Rob was only After Dark one time when I was in the hospital or something, and then he dropped a video. Oh, okay. J. Pez Bison says the porn thing is a myth. I don't know. But Darren agrees with you, says the VHS porn thing is a myth. Going to bed now. See you on me tomorrow. All right, my friend. Assuming, I don't know, are we doing a, since you're here, Tom, are we doing a stream tomorrow night? Andy Tiger says, what is your favorite sci-fi series that was canceled too early? Star Trek, the original series. But if I assume you mean something other than Star Trek, the original series, so we'll go with, and there's a lot of good ones. Life on Mars. The American Life on Mars was really, really good, and they canceled it after one freaking season. I know a lot of people are thinking Firefly. Firefly was awesome, but both me and Mrs. Antrager watched Life on Mars together and really enjoyed it. Another one, Almost Human.
Yeah,
that one was so good and still makes me cry to this day. And I actually, believe it or not, made Carl Urban cry at a Comic-Con, telling him the story of how my mom, when she was dying of lung cancer, and I would watch Almost Human every week together. So yeah. Alexander says, you have to watch Barbie and the Rockin' Royals before. We will. We will. Tornado 2 Shitstorm. Tornado 3, You're in Trouble. Tornado 4, the pro...
Oh, ew.
The what?
Prolapse.
I don't get that one. What's...
Like if your colon collapsed.
Oh, okay. Tornado 5, Revenge of the Shits. And finally, Tornado 6, The Bowels of Hell. That could actually be a film series.
You better copy that so you can show it to Joshua.
Oh, lordy. All right, so let's go here, and where am I going to put it? I don't have, so it's not making me do work. I'm trying, I'm barely awake as it is, and I have not, I had to bring up my Office Writer program, start. All right. And so let's paste this. All right. There, I copied that because that's good. I would watch you burning stuff on video all the time. Yeah, that was fun doing that. I was a fan of Call of Duty for a while. I actually liked a couple of the Call of Duty games. And for Jeff says, today will be a day long remembered. It's seen the death of Discovery, and soon we'll see the end of Kurtzman. If only that were true. I thought the switch to VHS was because VHS allowed for long-form recording, allowing 6 hours of footage on a 3-hour chip. I think that is actually the reason. But I remember we had, when I was a kid, a VTR, video tape recorder. It was neither Betamax nor VHS. I agree that Bloodsport was an awesome movie. Tompo was the perfect villain. Tompo was Chun-Li, wasn't it? Bouncing boobs is a must for fighting games. I agree.
You agree? That's not what you said.
Why did I say? I disagree. Yeah. Too much alcohol. Bounce. Let's see. You already read that. Let's see. You can beat Diablo 3 in a few hours if you played it before. You can, but you can't do everything. And I mean, if you take your time and go for full exploration, I mean, besides that, and I didn't say in one, we'll play for like an hour or something. Andre has the you're gonna hear some juicy shit voice. Rob has the documentary voice. Yeah, Rob does have the documentary voice. When Rob comes on, it's like, hey everybody, today we're going to talk about turds. I don't know. It's actually called Jiggle Physics. I know, and I hate it. I think that it ruined fighting games. If you need a voice, you need Stig Kenobi. Okay. Are you going to stay up until it's midnight in Hawaii too? No, I don't know if I'm going to make it to the West Coast. I only know that I'm going to make it to the Mountain Time Zone because that's only a couple of minutes from now. How are we doing?
You got 5 minutes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, 5 minutes.
Let me bring up... What's a city in the Mountain Time Zone? Maybe. Yes. I actually guessed right. Phoenix, Arizona.
4. Yeah.
All right. And so that way we have that ready. And make sure that we're queued up there. All right. Alexander says, when I watched Jonah Hex, I was so impressed by all the history and the killing. It was so good. And this is the same level of masterpiece like Barbed Wire. Well, yeah. Alexander, I don't know what's wrong with you, man. Alexander, yes, Adrian, I thought I messaged about that in DM, but might have gotten buried in the other ones and links. I couldn't remember. I know you said something, but I couldn't say. Firefly was the correct answer, says Mr. Miles. Well, whatever. I love Firefly, but those other shows I love too. And I wanted to think of something that wasn't Firefly, because I know that's what everybody was thinking of. Warehouse 13, Sanctuary, Buffy, The Vampire Slayer, Angel, all gone before their times. Okay. Princess of Mars was so quickly canceled that the series never existed. It was so sad when it was stopped before to start. All right, Alexander. Wow. Red Pill mentions Enterprise. I do think Enterprise is too bad, because Enterprise was getting really good in season 4, and then they canceled it and gave it that horrible ending. Mr. Miles says, I think I've started a snowball with the Turnado joke. LOL, now there are people doing it better than I did. I'm not sure how to feel. Feel bad. I would like to see a crossover with Jonah Hex and Tonto. Of course you would. Sony had a patent on Beta too. That's true. And Beta was technically a superior format as far as fidelity. It's just that, yeah, VHS you could record more time on a single tape. Just give me partial credit for the Tornado films, except Shitstorm. That was someone else. Damn it, alcohol makes you tell the truth. Yeah. Alexander says, Tonto and Jonah Hex are the 2 greatest heroes of the West. No, I think Zorro beats Tonto. I'm guessing Antrigger is not a fan of fan service in anime. Well, I'm not a big anime head. Mrs. Antrigger knows anime better than me, but
I don't know. It'd be Ebony would know it better than anybody.
And she was on earlier, by the way.
Oh, was she?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
My first car had an 8-track player. Wow. That you were living high on the hog. My first car had an AM radio. I believe jiggle physics in fighting games showed a lot of gamers were 99 years old. Kodak had a format that they tried out against Beta and VHS cassettes, smaller than both. I remember because I was working retail at the time. I don't remember that. Please check out this link. Something to watch it to the end. Huh? What? Oh, crap.
And I don't have anything if you wanted to.
Let's see. Just a minute here. I don't know.
Why is it silly?
All right. So I'm pouring Mrs. Anti-Tracker a little more booze to try and get her wasted so I can get lucky.
Okay, that's...
Well, we got to get rid of all this. All right. And so it is just about time to say Happy New Year's to all of our friends in the Mountain Time Zone. Here we go.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2,
Happy New Year to
Happy New
all
Year.
of you in the Mountain Time Zone. There. So there we go. So yeah. And that link was to a Transformers video. I'll check it out when I get a chance. Bet you top 13,000 before midnight in Mountain/Pacific.
I am gonna head out now.
No, you got a drink.
I cannot finish that. You can have it. I really can't.
All right, fine. Mrs. Anti-Checker's wasted. She's staggering about.
I am not, but I am a real lightweight.
She is. And unfortunately, alcohol just makes her tired. It doesn't make her, like, loopy and crazy and wild and stuff.
Yeah, it's medication.
Yeah.
Anyway, Happy New Year, everybody.
Mr. Miles says, if you ever meet Alexander in real life, don't let him touch you just in case he's contagious. Yeah, absolutely. Was the first Jiggle Physics fighting game Dead or Alive for the Sega Saturn? I'm not 100% sure. But you know what? I did drink up quite a bit so far, so I am going to actually use the Jaloja, which means now you guys are going to enjoy the wonderful Jaloja video. I'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Oi, it's my Aussie accent. It's the dingoes. We have to worry about the dingoes and the roos. The dingoes and the roos, they fight. And the shrimp fall off the Barbie. And in Tasmania, they're all cousins. The cousins marrying each other. Tasmania is what you Americans would call Alabama or Mississippi, but that's our Tasmania. They're all effed up down there, and you think Foster's is Australian beer, but it's shit? No, we drink koala beer here. That's the good beer. No, it's not made of koala. It's made of rue. But it's brewed. It's brewed manly. Like our like our forefathers who came here as criminals and settled this savage land. I have got to go on a walkabout to go see that big red rock in the outback, and this week at Outback we're having Outback Special with 2 lobster tails, $17.99. Ask your waiter. I will tell you that Ozzy O'Prey and my cousin in Ireland, whose Darth Revan's cousin. They do sound a lot alike. I will grant you that.
I tell you, I could just listen to that all night, and I think that it just makes you drunk listening to that. Editor, when will you do a review on all the episodes in The Mandalorian? Can't wait for it. I don't know. It's going to take a while because I got a lot that I'm dealing with right now, including going back to work in a couple of days. Let's see. The greatest heroes on Mars is Deja Torres. She's always naked and she kicks ass. Of course. That's why you like it. There's an episode of The Lone Ranger with French Canadians, and it was really weird. Well, if they were anything like you, then they should be, right? It's a crappy New Year video. Yeah, okay. Have a great night, Miss Sandchecker. Good night, Miss Sandchecker. Good night, Miss Sandchecker. Night, Miss Sandchecker. Here's another one from Sci-Fi. Oh, put that over for later. It's another Transformers video. I don't know when I'll get to them, but I don't particularly care for that show, that Transformers Prime show, that CG animated Transformers. Everybody's still saying good night to Mrs. Antichecker. 1 more hour to go for all of the U.S., well, except for Alaska and Hawaii, but yeah, they're not going to happen. Take care, Miss Antichecker. A P stream, yes. I'm out. Time to go play Star Trek Online. All right, have fun. The Ningos ate the baby, yes. That bird of prey. My phone's been stuck at 3% battery for a long time. Some sort of New Year's miracle. Yeah, what is that? I barely celebrate New Year's anymore. Hard to when I'm fighting with YouTube to get monetization restored. My dad passed away November 8th. YouTube has really irked me lately. I understand. Believe me. Last year, yeah, I can say that. At the beginning of 2019, I was fighting YouTube monetization bots like hell. It was horrible. They demonetized every single video that I uploaded. They demonetized every single live stream. It was just, it was driving me crazy. And of course, now my dad passed away a while ago, but for Mrs. Antichecker, she lost her sister and her mom at that same time. It was a rough patch. Wait, what the F is this? Yeah, that's Bird of Prey 5. Try drugs, the kind that don't make you tired. That would be good. Alexander says, I have now watched 220 episodes of The Lone Ranger on 221. I kept the last episode for New Year's. I can say that Tonto just gets better and better each episode. Tonto is a hero. I don't know what your thing is with Tonto. I really don't. The only Klingon to ever best Kirk in one-on-one combat. Yep, Joe. The special Klingon. Is it me or is Bert talking faster than normal? That's horrible, Carlo. Zachary says, he was using his Aussie accent earlier tonight. He had to switch the stream to Firefox from Google, and this Crocodile Dundee pic showed up. That's funny. That is funny. It's like a bad acid trick, yes. Seriously, check out Agony Wolf Media. No connection to me other than I like to share rare gems like Antichecker when I stumble on them. All right. Well, thank you for plugging Agony Wolf Media. And if you guys get a chance, check him or her out. And if it's good, like, subscribe, all that good jazz. And let's see here. And it looks like, Nerdrotic's actually streaming right now, so I'm not alone. That's something. Renegade says, Bird's right about Frosters. It was a Yank beer made to sell to U.S. troops, but the best beer is regional. NSW, it's Toolhees. Old or new. Victoria, it's VB. Old, it's XXXX. QLD, it's XXXX. Okay. Jeff says, put me on video. I can talk like Bird. Oh, man. Sci-Fi says, just trying to get you into the Transformers Prime cartoon show. It's a good show and honors the Transformers franchise and respects the fans and its fan base. But here's the thing, Sci-Fi said, Dan. No disrespect, but I'm older than that. I never got into the Transformers, except I have the original run of the Transformers in Marvel Comics. But as far as the animated series, I mean, I remember the Transformers more than meets the eye, but I did not give a crap about the show. Trek95 says, Happy New Year, Mrs. Antichecker. Well, she is now in bed. Vile Mike says, I'm going to head out too, folks. I promised I would spend some time with Mrs. Vile before midnight. Have a happy new year in your insert relative time period later. Anti-Tracker and everyone. Have a good one, Vile Mike. Take care, my friend. The dingo ate my baby. Isn't that funny? Linda Chamberlain spent time in jail for that. Her marriage collapsed. And it was decades later she was exonerated, and it turned out that the police botched the investigation. I did not know that part. Jonah Hex and Tonto could meet the Victorian baboon woman during their series. Indeed, they could, Alexander. They could. Not that that would be good, but yeah, that's definitely a possibility. Captain Redneck is in the house. Oh, you just missed Mrs. Anti-Checker, Captain Redneck says. Let me guess, Nerdrotic still blaming Disney for the mess of The Last Jedi that Lucasfilm made. I don't know. I didn't look at his stream at all because I'm busy talking to you guys. But I know that, you know, he definitely thinks that I'm crazy for liking The Rise of Skywalker. He and Doomcock both are like looking at me and scratching their heads going, what is wrong with Anti-Trekker? So the honest truth is, you know, I think Gary is an honest guy. I think he genuinely didn't like it, but you know, I think that he also is a little more closed-minded about it than me, that he was ready to hate it before it came out. Zachary says, I think we're all falling asleep at our computers. Yeah, I know. I'm like struggling to keep my eyes open at this point. Jeff says, Anti-Trekker, what's wrong with me? Well, nothing that I know of. You seem like an all right guy, you know, struggling with a little bit of depression every now and then, like a lot of us, but you seem like a pretty all right guy to me. And so stop beating yourself up. That's what you need to do. You need to stop beating yourself up. Renegade says, we all have different tastes. My best mates like Star Trek Discovery. I don't understand it, but he's still my best mate. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, you know, I make a joke about it, but when you see in the videos that, but wait, guy, that's a friend of mine named Andrew. He works at the church I go to, and I love Andrew. He's a great guy. He liked The Last Jedi. Now, I hated The Last Jedi. But Andrew and I are still friends. I'm not going to disown him because of that. And I'm certainly not going to say he's crazy or stupid. He just has very different tastes in me. And to him, and this is the important part, to him, the lore of Star Wars isn't that important. And so when I say, but look what they did to Luke, he's like, so? And what do you say to that? Well, okay, I guess it just doesn't matter to you. The end. And so Carlos says, everyone likes different things. That's fine. It's what makes us unique. Indeed. Sci-Fi says, I saw the original Transformers cartoon in the 80s and saw the Bay movies. First one was okay and the rest were terrible. I liked the first Bay Transformers movie. It was a little, some of the visual choices were questionable, but overall it was good. But yeah, then they went pretty radically downhill from there. Have you ever seen the BS going on with Mecca and her being harassed by Mundane Matt? No. I don't know Jack about it. If she's on the stream at Midnight's Edge tomorrow, maybe I'll ask her about it. But I don't know Jack about it. Isaiah says, I'm still devoted to Doomcock. Love his singing voice, but I don't like Nerdrotic, not anymore. Bet you get more subs if you sang a song every once in a while. Yeah, but I can't sing like Doomcock. Doomcock has got a great singing voice. He truly does. And I wish I could sing like Doomcock. But it's not just his singing voice. I think Doomcock has got a great shtick going. His whole supervillain thing is a great idea. I wish I'd thought about it. And Nightbreeze says, have a great night and Happy New Year to everyone on the West Coast. All right, my friend, I assume that means you are taking off. Sci-Fi says, I never saw original Transformers cartoon in the 80s. Oh, gotcha. I've heard about this Mundane Matt guy. Who is he? I don't know a lot about Mundane Matt. I never really gave a crap about him, and I never paid much attention to him. But my understanding is that Mundane Matt was a typical nerd-type YouTuber, very successful, big channel. And then he started, like, basically false flagging other channels. And he got caught doing it, basically. And that was, and so, but that's really all I know. So he was, you know, a pretty successful YouTuber and got busted false flagging people. That's pretty much all I know about him. And let's see. I, however, fell in love with Transformers and Transformers Prime, plus RC is my favorite character. Well, like I said, I don't even know who RC is. Well, I think I know who RC is. Isn't that the female that's like a scooter or something? But I only know that because people talk about her. I don't know anything about her. Carlos says, I've been through a lot, lost friends. My fiance left me just after our son was born, got into horrible debt, and got very ill. It's been taking me years to overcome everything. And hopefully, and I'm sure the hopefully part is that things are going to turn around. And I hope they do, Carlo. I will tell you. Let's see. Hopefully we'll be debt free by the end of this year. Life is its ups and downs. Big focus on the ups to get you through. I'll tell you, you know, it's been a rough season for me and Mrs. Anti-Trekker, as you guys know. And this isn't the first time we've had a difficult time, but it's definitely been one of the most severe. And when you're in the middle of it, it can feel like there's absolutely no hope. But that's part of the thing about this channel is, like, you know, we'll poke fun at each other, we'll rib each other, we'll even flat out insult each other, but we are all one nerd community and we can all stand together, at least on this channel. Right now, there are nerd channels that you can't say that about, but here everybody is welcome. Here we can hang out and have a good talk. Now, when I say that, I'm not suggesting the hold hands and sing kumbaya methodology of the progressive left. And don't get me wrong, if you're a liberal, that's fine. I don't care. You can be here. But when I say that, I mean we're not going to ignore our differences, and we're not going to only allow people that agree with us on one point or another. That would be hypocritical. We can fight, but anytime we fight, we have to, and this is what's really important to me, we have to go into a fight acknowledging that no matter what is said, no matter how hard we disagree, we're still friends when we walk away from it. It's okay to disagree. And that's why I like the me poo philosophy, because no matter how much I may disagree with you, yeah, I'll call you a piece of crap, but I'm one too. Let's see. Death Dealer says he's left leading YouTuber that reviews movies and stuff. I was subbed him for a while until his subs told me to kill myself for being a brony and other stuff. Wow. See, that's a bit much. And the thing is like I'm not a brony, obviously, but you're not the only brony that I hang out with here on YouTube, right? And there's nothing. I mean, it seems a little odd to me, but that's your thing, and that's cool. I don't have a problem with it. And that's something I think is cool, is that there's actually a few bronies that hang out on this channel. You guys are weird, but I love you. Alexander says, and hey, and you talk about weird, Alexander takes the cake on that. Enter, how didn't you like Jonah Hex? He's so much a badass. Honestly, I don't think he's as much a badass as you do. And I've never cared about Jonah Hex. I didn't care about his comic book character, and I didn't care about the movie. He just didn't interest me. Indy Tiger says, sleepy, go nap time, happy new year all, have a good one. Captain Redneck says, I ain't holding anyone's hand. Well, nobody wants to hold your hand, Captain Redneck, because, you know, we don't know where it's been. You may not like the cartoons, be a good show. It has a good storyline and characters as well. Adult themes that will keep you interested in the Transformers Prime show. It sounds kind of like Clone Wars then, and that Clone Wars has some decent stories and stuff, but man, the animation sucks. Renegade says, hey, I'm a progressive left and I don't endorse that hippie crap. I embrace true diversity. We're all individuals. Exactly. And that's the thing. If you can seriously tolerate people that disagree with you, then welcome. Absolutely. But don't give me, you know, and I know you don't, Renegade, but don't give me your stories of tolerance and then want to crucify people because they disagree with you politically or religiously, or about which is better, Star Trek or Star Wars, or whether or not the prequel series is any good or the sequel series is any good, or whether or not Discovery is really canon, or whether or not you know, the original series or Star Trek: The Next Generation or Deep Space Nine is the best of Trek. You know, shut up. Carl says, it's been nearly 8 years, but I'm finally on the up, and I enjoy Rational Rant. It makes me feel better that someone views Christianity similarly to me. Thank you, Anti-Tricker. You have helped. Thank you, Carlo. Anything I can do, man. It's unfortunately isn't much, but we can hang out and talk. Let's see. Annie Mia published new pictures on Instagram. She's so gorgeous. Previews really found a pearl. I'll buy her calendar for sure. I don't even know who that is. Matt also got busted on Mr. Metker's kill stream for all that false flagging BS. Yeah, I've seen clips of that. Josh says, what Galactica spinoff do you like more? Galactica 1980 or Caprica? Oh, geez. That's like asking which flavor of dog crap would you rather eat? They both sucked. But if I had to pick one, that I would probably pick Caprica, because at least it has decent production value. Star Wars fandom in a nutshell at the moment. Yeah, unfortunately. I've got another for you. I got yelled at on Twitter at times for not only being a brony, but also a conservative. Well, you know, and that's the thing, is that people love to hate. Captain Redneck says, "The F is a brony." A brony is a male who is a fan of My Little Pony. It's really that simple. It's an adult male, generally, who enjoys My Little Pony. And most bronies that I've talked to is because they find the characters interesting, they find the stories interesting and all that. And that's fine. If that's what gets you going, I'm fine with that. It's just, you know, it's just one form of entertainment. But, you know, some people think it's kind of freaky or whatever, and they liken it to furries and stuff like that. And it's, you know, I'm sure there are bronies that are also furries, but I don't think that there's a sexual component to being a brony. Alexander says, Anamia makes comics reviews, sent you... Oh, okay, yeah. Well, I don't generally buy calendars, so you have fun with that. And besides that, I have a very sexy wife. I don't need to look at pictures of someone else. You, Bird, and Captain Foley have helped just by being there and showing us that everyone has problems, and we can all be there for each other. Good people with good values. Thank you, Carla. And I'll tell you, and in all seriousness, I mean, I know I make fun of them all the time. I mean, after all, yeah.
Oi, it's my Aussie accent.
Well, obviously, I make fun of Bird all the time, but I absolutely mean it when I say he is an inspiration to me. When I'm sitting there having a pity party for myself, I look at that man and go, holy crap. I really am just a piece of crap for feeling bad for myself because of my stupid problems. So, yeah, Bird is truly an inspiration. And so there's adult men that like My Little Pony? Whoa. Yeah, they're out there. Zachary says, 1980, we made it to Earth, but they're too far behind technology-wise to help us. Oops. That's pretty much the premise of the show, yes. What would a fan of Bird be called? An idiot. It also, as why I started an animation channel, it got me out of desperation. And, you know, that's the thing. If it's something that helps you, well, you know, awesome. And that's how, like, you know, some people get into, like, you know, like I do these live streams. It's very therapeutic for me. And a lot of you guys seem to enjoy it. So I love hanging out with you guys. If I could, I mean, I would do this every day. And that would be my job if I could have it my way. But unfortunately, I can't have it that way. Not yet, anyway. Just please try to watch Transformers Prime show if you can get past the terrible animation show if you have time. I will try, Sci-Fi Sith, but I can't promise you anything. My 8-year-old son loves My Little Pony more than his sister. It's cool. His sister is a big Trekkie, so it balances out. There you go. Carlos says, I like the Fallen Kingdom. See it as fun and from your heart. And that Klingon does look like him. That Klingon look... Yeah, Mrs. Anti-Tracker is the one that spotted that Klingon. And so that's when we made that special Klingon video. It was Mrs. Antraker that noticed him. It got me out of depression, not desperation. That's good. Bird wants a Rose Tico series, and this is fine. Well, I think you want a Rose Tico series, and yeah, more than Bird does. Mr. Miles says, I had a friend I knew for, at the time, about 15 years and found out he was a brony. He was so ashamed, he kept it a secret from me for years, and we were like brothers. And of course, I had to send him off to Kuroga. I haven't heard from him since. Well, yeah, that got dark real fast. But, you know, it's funny because people do get embarrassed about it. And it's like, hey, you know what? Just because, you know, it's like, I'll say it, I'm a Trekkie, right? And of course, people look at you like, oh my God, so you're one of those nerds that actually argues over, you know, whether or not a phaser can cut through this or whether a matter-antimatter explosion has this much force and all. I was like, damn right, I love that stuff. Well, don't you know it's just a TV show? Yeah. And I love it. So what? You know, everybody's in, you know, why are you into fixing up old cars? Well, because the art form of the car. Well, you know what? I like the art form of science fiction. So have fun with that. You know, why are you into football? Why are you into whatever you're into? It's just something that clicks in your brain and gives you either escapism or something to focus your mind on that you enjoy. And whatever it may be, as long as it's not harmful, I'm okay with it. Alexander says, Rose Tico series is fine if she gets naked. I mean, people speaking against her just dream about her naked and don't want to admit it. Well, I'll say this. A lot of people didn't realize, I mean, they thought that Kelly Marie Tran was fat because of the way that they had her dress in The Last Jedi. But then if you see her at The Last Jedi premiere, you're like, holy crap, she looks great. But yeah, a lot of people just assumed she was fat because her character looked dumpy. Tom says, don't let people tell you what to like or dislike. We are free after all. We don't live in China, North Korea, or Kuroga. Very true. Especially Kuroga. I will tell you that the Kurogans, yeah, you got to be very careful about that. Let's see. And just say, okay, so I actually will make it to the West Coast tonight. I'm shocked. I didn't think I was going to make it, but we only got 32 minutes, so I think I can stretch this out. Fat Rose naked, dear God, no. Well, here's the thing, Captain Redneck. Have you even seen what Kelly Marie Tran looks like without being in the Rose Tico costume? Because she's not a bad-looking woman. Let me see if I can... There's a picture of her that I like to use, particularly when talking about her from The Last Jedi, because this is her at the, I think it was either the world premiere or some award show, but this was at the time that The Last Jedi premiered. So this is not like out of context. This was what she looked like when she was making that movie. That is not a fat woman. I'm sorry. That is a curvy, voluptuous woman. She looks pretty damn good there. All right? So, you know, people that think she's fat, I'm sorry, wrong answer. But the problem is that then when you see her as Rose Tico, you see her in this horrible costume that is designed to hide her curves. And that's just stupid. Look at that. Look at that costume. That is hiding an absolutely gorgeous body for no reason. And so that was like, I think that Rian Johnson deserves to be flogged just for what he did to Kelly Marie Tran. Let's see. Let's see. Daniel says, but what if they say, well, cars are real and Star Trek is not? I'll say, okay. Does the car teach you about morals? Does a car teach you about, you know, racism? Does a car do social no, a car is just a thing to get you from one place to another. And let's see. Mr. Miles says, speaking of nerd fights, in DJ's stream the other day, the episode Who Watches the Watchers, we argued for hours about it, if holo projectors can count as cloaking devices. No, holo projectors, I would say, is more camouflage. John DeLance plays a villain in My Little Pony at one point. The original showrunner, Lauren Faust, was a Star Trek fan and based the villain Discord on Q. That's funny. I did not know that. That's what part of what made me a fan. That is actually interesting. Yes, I've seen the premiere shots. People are dolled up in the nines for that show. Look at the in real life pics. Kelly Tran is fat. I disagree with you, Captain Redneck. I just disagree. I do not think she is fat. And in fact, if you look at her now she's actually kind of too skinny. Alexander says, in her red dress, she's even better. In the few scenes that she was in Rise of Skywalker, she didn't look fat. That's because in Rise of Skywalker, they still have her wear kind of frumpy clothes, but Kelly Marie Tran is ridiculously thin now. And, you know, it's a common, unfortunate thing in Hollywood is that these actors, you know, someone will say you're fat, and then then they'll lose so much weight that they become sickeningly thin. And I think that's kind of too bad, because I personally think that women should look like women. And I know that some people disagree with me on that, but yes, I do think that women should look like freaking women. And that means curves, people. Women are supposed to have curves. So yeah, here's a picture of Kelly Marie Tran as she looks now. You can see she is much, much thinner. And this is for the Rise of Skywalker world premiere. And now she looks all right there, but man, if she loses 2 more pounds, she's going to be anorexic. And I don't like to see that. Let's see. And the chat just jumped around on me. Where are we supposed to be? There it is. Just being female makes her a 5 out of 10, and the rest is just extra than personality. Well, that's what matters. Not sure what you mean there, Carlo. It affects you, then it must be real. If it affects you, it must be real. Well, there you go. If it affects you, it's real. So Star Trek is real. You're right, Andrew. Rose Tico shouldn't have been wearing anything. Well, I didn't say that. I don't think that Star Wars should be a porn. I'm just saying that I think it's a shame to purposely make her look ugly. There's no difference between cosplaying your sci-fi series and talking about it around the water cooler and donning your sports ball team's colors and talking about the latest game. Actually, yeah, it's not that far off. Some in the Phantom Menace have the theory that the filmmakers made Kelly Marie Tran look frumpy because they wanted Rey to be the most attractive woman in Star Wars. I've heard that, and it does. I maybe, but I think more that they're trying to I think they're trying to goad people into fat shaming her. Because that's like a thing in Hollywood now. Like, look at Saturday Night Live right now. You have several of the cast members, particularly Cecily Strong, and oh gosh, I can't remember the name of the other chick, the chick that's actually the fat chick on the show. And they keep shoving them in your face, trying to say, look how attractive they are. And if you say, no, they're not, then they accuse you of fat shaming. And you know what? I'm not going to take that bait. I'm just going to say, no. Sorry, you're not attractive. You know, I see these commercials nowadays where people are saying, oh, any size is beautiful, and they show a woman that weighs like 300 pounds, right? And I'm sorry. No, that's not attractive. That's sick. All right? And to try and glamorize that is even more sick, because that is unhealthy. Anna Mai could also play Rose Tico. Well, lots of people could. Looks like you make it to Pacific. Yeah, looks like I will, which is amazing. I didn't think I would, but we've only got 25 minutes to go. Well, I'm heading to bed. Happy New Year. Take it easy, Zach. Let's see. I agree. Women have curves. I'm not a necrophiliac. I don't want a skeleton. I agree. And Captain Redneck saying, look at Discord. All right, let me see. What did you put in Discord? If I can get there. Come on. Home and come on, stupid thing. Sorry, my computer is just like, yeah, that's direct messages. And where is it? Come on, you stupid thing. I don't want direct messages. I want... What is wrong here? Let me move this over to another monitor so I can see better. Ah, there we go. And Scarred Insect, Science, and Endurance, DJ Odyssey, Chronos. There. Alright, sorry. Computer was just being stupid, and I am very, very tired. Alright. And go to present. Alright, so you have a picture of her, and you want to say she's fat because of this picture. And I don't think she looks fat there. I don't think that dress is particularly flattering on her. But I don't think that she looks fat there. I think that she looks casual there. As far as that picture, again, same thing. What do you think? She's fat because she's got a fork? I don't follow you, Captain Redneck. I don't. I do think women should have curves. And, you know, I'm sorry, but you know what? I don't think she's fat either, and she's got curves. And so, you know, are you going to say she's fat because she's curvy? I mean, I know you wouldn't say it to be insulting, but I'm just saying. Look at that. Do you think that's fat? Because I don't think it is. Adam says, watch your review of the Borg on Enterprise. They were the scariest version of the Borg. Just 2 drones nearly snowballed and the entire Federation being overrun. I know, and that was actually, I think it's too bad that they finally got the Borg right just in their last appearance. But yeah. Death Dealer says, don't jinx it. Axel Braun can make a better Star Wars movie, and he's a porn director. We demand Rose Tico and Slave Leia metal bikini costume. Okay. Rose Tico could have her naked series. I'm sure you would like that. You know. Live long and prosper. Happy New Year from one Trek fan to another. Take care of yourself, Ian. Have a good one if you're leaving. Corey says, I'm a new sub. Will you be doing any more Borg analysis? Best Trek humor since TNG got kidnapped by Stewie. Your sarcasm is a force to be reckoned with, sir. You had me in tears from laughter. Well, thank you. Yes, we're going to be doing a lot more Borg stuff in 2020. And so that's definitely on. I mean, I'll tell you, there's a lot on the docket that I want to get done. How quickly it gets done is going to depend. 2019 was a horrible year for me. And 2020, I think, will definitely be a better one. Captain Ryan says, look at her fat arms, her fat chin. If her arms are blubbery, can't imagine what the rest looks like. If you say so. Redneck likes his women flat like Burnham, apparently. Sci-Fi says, I was a freshman in high school when I got my first cell phone, a flip phone. When I was a freshman in high school, nobody had cell phones. What are your thoughts on Picard? And no, just got here. That's all right, Ian. As far as Picard is concerned, I think that it looks like it's well produced, but I am not... I'm not sold on it as far as... I don't think the show looks like it's going to be awesome. And in fact, I think the trailers kind of have hints that I don't like. Like in the last trailer, you see Picard saying, we've got to help this girl. We've got to protect this girl. She's in danger. She's in danger. Meanwhile, throughout the trailer, all you see her do is kick everybody's ass. And if she's that badass, why... She looks like she's the freaking Mandalorian. She's throwing people around, beating them up and all that. How is she in danger? If she's going to kick everyone's ass, but then they constantly are trying to protect her, it's going to get old fast. So, I don't... and so, I don't know. I know that's just a trailer, but that's the impression it left me with. In Jonah Hex, there are hooker kicking asses. She's amazing. I like it when there are fighting hookers in movies. Alexander. There are Borg Asian women in Picard. This is great. Well, there are Asian women in Picard. That's true. Is she the danger, or I hope? I don't know, because Picard was saying she was in danger, but there's no way in hell she was in danger in that trailer. If it's not good, phasers on stun in 2020. Yeah, it's I'll tell you the only thing I'll promise you, Ian, and everybody else, anybody that's been subscribed to me knows this about me already. The only thing I'm going to promise you is I will tell you my honest opinion. If it's good, I'll tell you. If it sucks, I'll tell you. And if it's middle of the road, I'll tell you that too. And that gets me in trouble sometimes, like it did with Rise of Skywalker for me giving it a 6 out of 10, which is a mediocre score. But people say, "Oh my God, it's positive," without stopping to think that 6 out of 10 is not exactly glowing. But even if it was, just because I liked it and you didn't doesn't mean that it's the end of the frickin' world. I didn't like the trailers for Discovery. It's my least favorite Star Trek series, even worse than the animated series. I like the trailers for Picard, hoping it's good. I think the trailer, I'll tell you, my favorite thing in the trailers for Picard thus far has been the Picard Riker moments. I think those look really nice. And if that's the heart and soul of the show, then it could be awesome. However, my least favorite thing is to see 7 of 9 dual-wielding phaser rifles running around shooting people. I'm like, oh my God, what is this crap? So, yeah. And Sci-Fi says, sorry, that comment was a redneck, no biggie. Just says, the only thing about Picard I'm concerned about, Patrick Stewart seems too old. You can hear it in his voice. You absolutely can. I do think he's too old. I don't know, and I said that when they first announced the show. I was like, no, this is a bad idea. But they're gonna do it, so I'll roll with it. Hopefully it's good. Maybe she's like River and Firefly, mentally fragile, vulnerable, but kicks ass because she's turned into a weapon. If so, then, I'll just say, well, it's just a ripoff of Firefly. Daniel says, Andrew, when you was a kid, about 5 years old, I watched a bit of Batman Returns, and that was my Batman. And then I watched the OG Batman 89, and later I saw Batman 66 movie, and I'm sure it'll be continued. Death Dealer says, remember the other Picard trailer where the Romulan was on the ground screaming, she's the destroyer? Yeah, well, we'll see. And if it is just a rehash of Firefly, because it does look like the Firefly style, then what's the point? We already saw that in Firefly. Carlos says, I hope she's saying she's in danger of herself. Misdirection, but I don't know. That could be clever. It could be, but I'm not buying it. But here's the thing. I'm going to see with an open mind, just like I did with Rise of Skywalker. So I'm hoping it's good. I want it to be good. I'm rooting for it to be good. But the trailers are not inspiring me to be excited about it. I would give a higher score to Rise of Skywalker with some Gungans. I know you would, because you're crazy. Captain Redneck says, Rise of Skywalker is a great movie with a couple of plot holes. The fat dumb menace can suck it. I don't think it was great, but I thought it was okay. And yeah, it's not a perfect movie. Like you said, a couple of plot holes. I think the editing in the first act was pretty choppy. But overall, I found it an enjoyable film. Ian says, thank you for your time with my questions. Happy New Year. Wish me luck on my channel. Absolutely, Ian. And, of course, you are always welcome. Dan says, okay, here we go. It was odd going from Batman 89 and Batman Returns to Batman 66, from Earth 89 to Earth 66. Very odd. It felt like a fish out of water. This was not my Batman. Well, Batman 66 was really more of a parody of Batman than anything else. But that is actually how the comic books were back then. They were silly. They were true to the name comic. Batman 89 was more like how the comics had evolved into a more serious tone. Personally, I think comics were at their best in between those two. Like in the 70s and 80s is when I think comics were best. Hello, and Ian Slinger put $2 in and says, here's some money, take my money. Thank you, Ian. I truly appreciate it. And I will gladly take your money because I am a greedy bastard. That's something that I'm not going to deny. My father got his mobile phone when I was in high school. It was a brick the length of my arm, weighed like 5 kilos. Yeah, those brick phones were around when I was young, but very few people had them. Piano Dean says, Baby Got Back is now live on my channel for your viewing enjoyment. Let's make it go viral. I will watch it as soon as I am done with this live stream. Tubin says, I think Captain Picard is supposed to be old. He's not going to be Action Man Picard. I hope you're right, Tubin. I hope you're right. But they show him fighting a guy with a sword. So, yeah. And there's Ian's $2. Thank you again, my friend. Alexander says, sad there's no comic book series about Jar Jar Binks. Well, that's probably not going to happen. I don't think there's any demand for it. Death Dealer says the score on Rotten Tomatoes Rise of Skywalker has dropped 71% in the box office. Yeah, that's as far as the box office drop, 71% drop is not a record. Last Jedi still holds the record there. But let me see here. But the audience score is still holding steady at about 74,000 verified ratings, still sitting at about 86%. So it's still basically hated by the critics and thought of as not bad by the audience. Let's see. Renegade says they do show Picard fighting a man with a sword, but at least Picard being a swordsman is established in TNG. Yeah, but here's the thing. And I'll tell you, I was in the Army, right? And I trained in hand-to-hand combat. I learned how to do various moves to disable people and to throw people and to otherwise incapacitate people. And I couldn't do all those moves with the same efficiency now that I could when I was 20. So Picard is like ridiculously old. And I'm sorry, but an 80-year-old is not a 50-year-old. And I'm a freaking 50-year-old, right? And a 50-year-old is not a 20-year-old. So we'll see. So going from my Batman to the 60s Batman was odd. The 60s Batman was out during the day, and he danced where Michael Keaton did not. Nicholson Joker killed people. Cesar Romero did not. Yeah, but it's different eras all. There are 32 comics of Tonto from the 50s. I want that collection. It's certainly amazing. Well, you're not going to get any competition from me to go get it. Surf Trek Char says, your super chat won't accept my Make Money Go Packlid credits. Well, what's wrong with it? Try the link in the description for the man, I'm losing my freaking mind. The subscribe. You guys know what I'm trying to say. I'm just freaking tired. It's been a long ass day. Streamlabs. That's what I'm thinking of. Streamlabs. Try the link for Streamlabs. Mr. Miles says, you don't live in the future either. Picard does. Well, true, but you know what? Picard doesn't look... I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure I could take him. I'll bet you that I could take Picard in a fight. And I am, 40 years younger than him. So... hello. There you go. Ricky put $2 in. Happy New Year. Hope all is well.
I got it.
So, thank you so much, Ricky. I truly appreciate that, my friend. Let's see. Where were we? Thomas says, how the hell did those criminals get out of jail so many times in the 1960s Batman? Well, because in the 1960s Batman, Commissioner Gordon was incompetent. Welcome to the club. My mind is long gone. Yeah, I tell you, Jeff, I'm losing it here. It's like, come on. I only got 11 minutes. I can do this. I've nursed dementia patients 80 years old from World War II when they lost the moment they could kick ass. I remember one standing on a broken leg and leg sweeping us so we could sedate. I understand that, but at the same time, if you have a person who, assuming that Picard is not fighting a untrained idiot, if you have two people who are trained, the elder person is going to lose. But then I learned to love the 60s Batman, and I hope they will restore Earth 66. They're not going to restore Earth 66. That's not going to happen, Daniel, because people think that kind of thing is stupid. You've never lost your breakdancing aptitude. Yes, I certainly have. Daniel says, Worf versus Lore Reloaded. Well, Lore Reloaded would take off his shirt and Worf would instantly disintegrate. Sci-Fi Sith says, from what other YouTubers say, the Rise of Skywalker 86% score is fake on Rotten Tomatoes and hasn't changed. I would say the score is optimally 66 and as low as 45. I disagree. I think the 86% is a solid score. These are from here's the thing. The reason people are bitching, and I'm sorry, and I know that I've gotten into it with people on this, But the reason people are bitching about it is because Rotten Tomatoes changed the rules to where you have to be a verified viewer of the film in order to leave a review of it, which means that everybody that leaves a review on Rotten Tomatoes actually purchased a ticket through Fandango. Now, some people say it's not fair that it has to be Fandango, but you know what? You can't get every theater to report the names and information on everybody that buys tickets to Rotten Tomatoes. So for right now, that's the way it needs to be. And that is to prevent fraudulent reporting. It's to prevent people from being able to review bomb a feature. And if you make it impossible to review bomb a feature, 86% being steady actually makes more sense, because statistically, if you have a crowd of people and most people that watch the movie enjoy it, why would it fluctuate? If you have 100 people or 1 million people do the survey, the percentages are going to come out about the same. Screw that. How did SU1 escape any of their 80-plus captures? Well, because they're really, really good. Have you ever met Patrick Stewart? I have not. I would concede if his opponent is trained. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that if assuming Picard's not fighting someone that's never picked up a sword before, he should not have a prayer. Anti-Trekker versus Worf. Oh, Worf would kick my butt all over the place. But he wouldn't do that because he would see that I have honor. I like Gary, but his obsession with hating JJ and The Rise of Skywalker makes it hard for me to justify staying sub to him because of everything. Well, here's the thing. Don't watch those videos. Wonder Woman 77 is amazing. Linda Carter was, and lovey faces. You know what? Linda Carter was all right, although she had no butt. Linda Carter needed a freaking butt. I'm still waiting for Disney to pay me for a good review. Well, yeah, that would be nice. I would definitely take some money from Disney. Mr. Mouse says, Rotten Tomatoes also has official reviewers leaving reviews for Witcher while they admit that they only watched a few episodes of it, but is that okay? I've grown up to distrust Rotten Tomatoes. Well, here's the thing. Rotten Tomatoes doesn't have reviewers. Reviewers are certified to be on Rotten Tomatoes. So, for example, let's say that like Jeremy Johns is a certified Rotten Tomatoes reviewer. Now, Jeremy Johns himself doesn't apply to Rotten Tomatoes to be that. Rotten Tomatoes sees that Jeremy Johns is a significant reviewer out there, so they add him to their list of certified reviewers. Then, every time Jeremy Johns does a review, they add it to the tomato meter. And they do that with all the critics that are on the list. Now, if they have a few reviewers that do The Witcher, and they're the only ones that do it, they have to take what information they got. And if those people give it a positive or a negative review, all they do is aggregate that number. And so the percentage you get is the number of critics that Rotten Tomatoes follows, the percentage of those critics that give it a positive review. And the problem is you're not going to get a lot of reviews for a show like The Witcher. So, yeah. Alexander says, it was only 66% from the critics for Joker. I was surprised. Honestly, I'm not. If that's where it was, that doesn't surprise me, because here's the thing about critics. Critics will sometimes write off a movie because it has a superhero premise. Critics will sometimes write off a movie because it's violent. Critics will sometimes write off a movie because it's not deep intellectual, doesn't have political stuff. And in fact, the critics hated Rise of Skywalker because they ditched the SJW agenda. One of the things that I loved about it. Is Fandango an American thing? That would explain 86% without the disappointing numbers from China. Yes, Fandango, I believe, is just America. Jeff says, Anti-Trekker versus Lore Reloaded. Interesting fight. But I would say, in my current condition, I would probably have to give it to Lore. But if my leg heals, then I think I could take him. And I'm unaffected by his disintegration powers because I've edited those videos so many times I built up an immunity. Cisco and Dax are better at hand-to-hand combat than Picard. Both are adept at using a batleth. Yeah, a little too adept at using a batleth, if you ask me. Dax, I can kind of understand because a prior version of her had trained, but Cisco, when they kick also, there's a few times on Deep Space Nine where they are just a little too good at fighting. Okay, certified reviews are leaving reviews for Witcher while they're admitting they only watched part 1 or 2 episodes. They're admitting to not watching it. That's my point. I understand that, Mr. Miles, but that's not Rotten Tomatoes' fault. That's the critic themselves. You know, I would, you know, I would definitely say, you know, I would probably send a message to that critic saying, how dare you write a review if you're not going to watch the frickin' show. Rotten Tomatoes gave very low percentage to Jonah Hex, no credibility. Again, Rotten Tomatoes doesn't give a percentage. They simply add up the numbers. That's all they do. So, yeah, I think people don't understand. Rotten Tomatoes isn't assigning a score. Rotten Tomatoes simply adds up the percentage of critics that give it a positive review and tell you that percentage. Commodore Ty says, wow, you're still on? Indeed I am, but only for a few more minutes. And then I am going to actually wrap it up. In my suggestions is a live stream that has been going on for 11 hours, and there's a view of the front of a train in Norway. 300 plus people watching. Wow. So that's what it suggests when you're watching me, is a train in Norway running for 11 hours with 300 people watching. That's just sad. Valor says most of his videos are about hating Star Wars and JJ, many of his live streams, which is why I'm finding it hard to say sub. I understand that, but you know what? It's a phase. It's because that's the hot topic right now. In a few weeks, it'll be Picard. And thank you, Mr. Mouse, for the reminder. But yes, I've got a clock in front of me so that I know we have 2 minutes and 50 seconds as of right now. I remember the early days of filming The Rise of Skywalker. They said that Rey would have a son, and that they said that Anakin Skywalker would appear in the movie, and that did not happen. Well, Anakin Skywalker does sort of kind of appear. But Rotten Tomatoes has certified them. They should pull those certs. Then you should send a message to Rotten Tomatoes. People have to complain for them to do that. So complain. That's what complaining is for. Jonah Hex is a masterpiece. How then they give a low score? They don't. Rotten Tomatoes doesn't give a high score or a low score, Alexander. That's my point. They simply tell you what other people scored it. Rotten Tomatoes does not assign a score to anything. What I have done in starting this Rotten Tomatoes debate, sorry, I'm trying for starting this. That's okay, Sci-Fi Sith. It comes up every now and then. And I know some people think, oh, Rotten Tomatoes is all fake and all that. No, they're just reporting the numbers. It's not like, look, click on the reviews. If you don't believe that they're telling you accurate numbers, click on all the reviews and see that the reviews are what they say they are. I've done it. When I said, there's no way that this movie has a 0 score. And then I start clicking on the reviews, and sure enough, every single review is negative. So, yes, do it. Do it now! And no, Jonah Hex is not a masterpiece. So now we got a minute and 30 seconds to go. Well, actually a little less than that, about a minute for you guys because of the delay. Thomas says, you're skipping your daughter's comments. Your daughter is Ebony, not Ray. Oh, I did not see her there. Oh! Well, here's the thing, Ebony. I did not see that you were in the chat. Especially when I'm this tired, you got to put at Anti-Trekker with the dash in the chat for me to see it. That's why I missed it. So I am truly sorry, Pumpkin. It says, hi guys, I'm back to ring in the new year. Well, it's great to see you. And in less than a minute, it will be 2020 there in Oregon. But thank you, Thomas, for pointing that out to me. I did not see that. Daniel says, hey, Trey, you're already talking about episode 10. We'll see. We'll see. All right, so let's get the old countdown ready. So here we go in just a few more seconds. Hopefully I get the timing about right, because this one's for Ebony.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So, Happy New Year's to the West Coast of the United States, including my lovely daughter, Ebony, in Portland, Oregon. That is not bad. All right. Yes, just like that, Ebony. That is perfect. Here's the thing. When you put at Anti-Trekker in the chat like that, it highlights in orange on my screen, so it makes it easy for me to see. That way I know which chats are for me, as opposed to, like, see, Alexander put one to you, talking about giving how he sent Barbie and the Rockin' Royals to me. Yes, he actually did send me a Blu-ray of Barbie and the Rockin' Royals. Mr. Miles says, I suspect Rotten Tomatoes is treated similarly to how YouTube is treated. They don't outright rig it, but they put their thumb on the scales to manipulate perceptions. I don't know that they even do that. I just think that, because here's the thing, Mr. Miles, I think this is where you're missing it. There's a huge bias in the critic realm of things. And as far as audience reviews, they're going to always be biased, because here's the thing. Number one, if you're only taking reviews from people that go to see the film, a lot of those people have already made up their mind before they saw the film. Look at the Phantom Menace right now. Look at some of the crap that some of the people are saying about Rise of Skywalker, and they're saying it because they already made up their mind before they saw the film. All right, so I would dare say that a huge number of those reviews are biased. But then you also have the fact that, you know, your average normie goes to see that movie and they're like, yeah, that was all right. I enjoyed it. Let's see. Sci-Fi says, Happy New Year from the crap hole state of California. Indeed it is. Health in the new year. Thank you, Alice. Synthosaurus says, sleep tight, little prince. I indeed will. And Mr. Ron says, Ebony, if you're on the PC, just type in the first part and hit tab to autocomplete. Unfortunately, she is not. So she is on an Apple device. Night all, best 2020 for everyone. Thank you, Carla. Happy New Year to all the heroes of the West. I mean, Tonto, Jonah Hex, and the Lone Ranger. Of course. Andrew, you should audition for Batman in the new Batman movie. It would be a horrible idea. Andrew, YouTube needs to make a way for you to set other ways to highlight to get your attention, like @AT. I would love that if somebody could put @AT and highlight it to me. That would be awesome. Because yeah, spelling out anti-tracker, I know, on a phone or something is a pain in the butt. Plus, sometimes people misspell it or forget the dash or whatever, and it makes it harder. Number one ate a burger. This is not nothing eating a burger. It's something eating a burger. And number one has a very powerful shirt. We see the power in her shirt. I don't understand that. I've heard you say it before, and I do not understand that. Are you just saying her boobs are powerful, or are you saying there's actually something in her shirt? Critics don't get to tell me what I can and can't like. That's my view and always will be. Oh, yeah. If I want to make the content or watch the movies I watch, I don't need their views on it. Right, but here's the thing. If you find a critic that you can agree with most of the time, then you can get a good barometer for whether, like, if you're not sure, do I want to see this? Like, here, let me be real. Any Star Trek movie ever comes out, as long as I am still alive, I will see it. Because I'm that much of a Trekkie. However, let's say that a few years from now, they're making another Fast and Furious movie, and I'm like, you know, that franchise is kind of played out, but I see a couple of critics that I trust love it. All right, I'll give it a shot. So, but anyway, with that though, guys, I am going to wrap it up because I am freaking exhausted, but I want to thank you, all of you that have been here for any length of time, because you guys know I've been here since before we rang in the new year in freaking New York, and now it is 2020 all across this wonderful nation of ours. Unfortunately, not including Hawaii and Alaska, but I can only do so much. So, with that, guys, let's have Bird of Prey give us some wonderful musings as we finish up here.
Oi, it's my Aussie accent. It's the dingoes. We have to worry about the dingoes and the roos. The dingoes and the roos, they fight. And the shrimp fall off the Barbie, and in Tasmania, they're all cousins. The cousins marrying each other. Tasmania is what you Americans would call Alabama or Mississippi, but that's Tasmania, or they're all effed up down there, and you think Foster's is Australian beer, but it's shit? No, we drink koala beer here. That's the good beer. No, it's not made of koala. It's made of rue. But it's brewed. It's brewed manly. Like our like our forefathers who came here as criminals and settled this savage land. I have got to go on a walkabout to go see that big red rock in the outback, and this week at Outback we're having Outback special with 2 lobster tails, $17.99. Ask your waiter.
It just won't stop.
Well, I will tell you that Ozzy O'Prey and my cousin in Ireland, who's Darth Revan's cousin, they do sound a lot alike. I will grant you that. There's not a lot. It's hard to tell the difference between the two, but there is a difference. It's mostly the words they use. They sound a lot alike, but Ozzy O'Prey talks about dingoes and shrimp on the Barbie, whereas Joe from Ireland talks about bloody hell and Michael Collins and Irish whiskey and those British they're trying to take our island. It's like the Simpsons episode where Bart calls Australia Collect, and they wanna give him a boot in the butt, but they run into the American embassy, eh? Yeah. I apologize. I apologize to our Australian friends. If we have any here today.
To answer when one does not understand the question.
Can you let us hear the probe's transmission?
Yes, sir. On speakers.
The president did say it was directed at Earth's ocean.
Uhura. Can you modify the probe signals, accounting for density, temperature, and salinity factors?
I can try, sir.
Son of a bitch!
I think I have it, sir.
You son of a bitch, anti-tracker!
And this is what it would sound like underwater.
Yes, sir.
You son of a bitch, anti-tracker!
Bird of prey.
Fire!
Oh, man, there was lightning right here.